Welcome to this new episode of Cast It to the King. Long overdue with these two gents. I have Cory VanBlaricom, the VanBlaricom brothers, and Zach over there at the end. How you doing?
Fantastico.
We're doing great. We're one brother short.
Yeah,
but he's made his appearance already. This is my first time on the Cast It to the King podcast. It's a pleasure to be here.
People loved me last time. It's still the highest viewed podcast, is it
It's
not?
the second.
Oh, not for long, boys and girls.
My Lakers and Grizzlies prediction video.
No.
You just went with the viral
Just
stuff.
you? It's just solo?
Just me and some
Wow.
creative editing with it.
Put some Laker talk in there. That gets the algorithm going. But we all know we're not about that Laker life here.
No, we're
It's
not.
a great grind until I die.
All right, speaking of Lakers, they move on in the NBA playoffs. They have dethroned the Golden State Warriors. They will not be repeating. So initial thoughts on what is set to be the Denver versus Lakers matchup. I'll start with you, Zach.
Start with me. I think that the Lakers are facing their first real opponent in the playoffs this upcoming series. The Grizzlies were banged up, missing 3 of their top 7 guys. Ja with a broken hand, drama amongst the organization. And then the Lakers, not the Lakers, the Warriors also kind of the same boat. They're washed up. I mean, it was
More
Curry.
washed. They were healthy, but just washed.
Yeah, washed up. I going into the series, I really thought going into the entire playoffs, I thought the Lakers were a lot more sorry than they actually are. I thought they were more ragtag, thrown together. But, it's really been Anthony Davis has been the difference. He's been an absolute menace.
Yeah, arguably he's been the best player in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I
agree.
He kind of takes a night off after a monster game, but then he comes out and
he's
is
pretty
just
inconsistent, but
truly
he is
dominant on both ends.
Unstoppable.
And it's, this is the top 5 player in Anthony Davis that took them to their first championship. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he's back, he's healthy, and he's literally dominating. I mean, the Grizzlies were helpless against him.
Yeah. Even the Warriors, who are more primarily like a shooting team, still his presence just made it,
That was my thought, was that the Warriors, with their shooting ability, would be able to pull him out. And they did a little bit. When they won their games, they had success drawing him out of the paint. But at the end of the day, it was just Steph against 5 other guys.
Facts.
No one else on the Warriors stepped up and delivered. Draymond had a game, but Klay was just garbage the entire series, basically. I mean, Game 6 Klay, what a joke. We can retire that now permanently. Absolute. 4 rings. He's still talking about those 4 rings. That's all you're ever going to get, my friend. Sorry. Hate to break it to you.
Yeah.
But
I watched a little bit of post-game with them, with Draymond and all those guys, and they seem like they're ready to re-up. I don't think this is the end, but
they got a lot of off-season questions. I mean, Draymond's got a player option, so he could opt out, and then they either got to re-sign him to a deal, and he's still got some juice left, so he could get a longer deal.
Honestly, he was a key part of their efforts.
It's really if they
shocking.
break up the core, I think they're toast. I can't imagine. I mean, they're young players that everyone hyped up have just not.
Jordan Poole.
Jordan Poole's a disaster. I mean, that contract is going to look horrific.
Yeah, he's bad.
In the coming years. I mean, he was unplayable basically, and he's making $30 million next year.
Agreed.
And then for 4 more years.
Kuminga's a no-show.
Yeah, Kuminga.
Moses Moody's aggressive, but nothing really to say.
He's got some promise, but these guys are young and just not ready. We saw that with the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
Our GM said he's going to triple down on youth, or maybe it was a mistake, and it turns out it was. Too much young players, not enough vets. Nobody that's been ready in the moment before.
Agreed.
And, you get to the playoffs and it shows. You look at the teams that are having success, the Lakers, all veterans. Yep. The Nuggets, chemistry, veterans. They got one young guy basically in the rotation. Who else? I mean, we look on the eastern side, you got Philly, bunch of vets. Boston, bunch of vets.
Right. But say all that to say, the Lakers just way more legit than most people probably
underestimated.
Thought they were.
And you look at after the trade deadline, their performance and their statistics and all the numbers, they performed like a real contender, but it was just such a short period of time. It's hard to really believe in it.
Thanks.
But it turns out it was not fool's gold.
What do we think? What do we think about? Before I give my thoughts on it, what do you think about the Nikola Jokic versus Anthony Davis matchup?
Very interested to see what that looks like.
From what I know about Jokic, I know that he solves pretty much everything. He can adapt to anything.
I agree.
If you get up on him, he's going to pass. If you play the passing lanes, he's going to score. He's just that kind of guy. Can do it all. Can run the game, run the offense. I would be worried about maybe the little bit of the athleticism, a little bit of the length, and just the double team potential with the
Yeah.
Lakers. I mean, they got a lot of size. I mean, Hachimura's sizable, LeBron's size, Vanderbilt size and defense, and so you could throw a lot of bodies at him. But Jokic, the thing about him is he's such a great passer and such a great playmaker. So it's like, who knows? But I don't think he's stoppable. I don't think Jokic is stoppable. He's going to get his. It's more about the other guys.
I don't think we really see a lot of the Davis and Jokic matchup. The Lakers love letting AD roam and play off the ball and contest and block from the weak side, and they're not going to want to waste him on Jokic one-on-one because then he can't help, and then you allow Jokic to be his playmaking self and get everybody else involved when the rest of the Laker starting five are not great defenders, just okay. It's all really centered around Davis, so he'll probably roam. They'll probably start with Vanderbilt on him and be physical and try to get him off his spots. It's not going to work, but at least you have Davis as a backline protector. We'll see how that works, but I agree, man. Jokic solves everything. He is just over and over again proved to be just an incredible player, and it's hilarious to watch. I mean, he's just so clumsy and just a big oaf out there, but he's
got the touch.
He's incredible.
God.
I heard a stat saying he's shooting
touch.
like 66% on floaters.
Oh yeah, his like 10-foot floaters.
It's unbelievable. I mean, that's like a shot you willingly give up most of the time because it's a hard shot, but he's making 2/3.
That shot is unguardable, and he can get that whenever he wants.
He throws up the ugliest looking stuff and it goes in.
Yep.
It's got to be so frustrating playing against him.
Yeah, and then the Nuggets, as far as if you compare role players, it's like, I mean, you got Jamal Murray, Michael Porter, Gordon. Do they still have Bones Highland?
No, they traded him to the Clippers.
Who else do they have?
KCP's really good role player.
Yeah.
Let's see. They got that rookie Christian Brown.
They got Bruce Brown.
Bruce Brown's a great role player. I wish the Grizzlies could have gotten him because
just compare role players. And then the Lakers, who do they have? D'Angelo Russell, Dennis Schroeder, Austin Reeves.
They're getting saved by guys who aren't real players
Lonnie
Lonnie Walker showing up out of nowhere. The Hachimura games out of nowhere. These guys are not reliable players, but they're having moments.
Yeah.
And it just seems to have kept them alive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like the Nuggets are full of reliable, consistent, proven players that are just over the long term are going to show up, and I think they're going to win. And they got enough shooting.
Yep.
A 3-point shooting is it's the ultimate like equalizer in all playoff rounds and series. It's like if you're making your threes, you're gonna perform.
Even the Warriors were building houses, man, with all them bricks.
Yeah, exactly.
The Grizzlies is to be expected.
That's what the Grizzlies without their shooting with missing so many guys.
Nothing surprising about that.
Yeah, I mean it was a little surprising that Bane has such an off series, but yeah, I mean, and some of that's defense, but it's like the variance of the 3-point shot will determine who wins and loses a lot of the time. And teams like the Lakers who don't rely on it a ton are seeing the benefits of it because they don't need the variance to favor them. And so they're doing it more, easy buckets, free throw line, which is a controversy. The amount of free throws the Lakers shoot frustrates people, and it is. I mean,
but the Warriors don't even drive like that.
The Warriors
they drive
don't have
to
an
kick,
argument.
They drive to pass.
No,
they're
they
not
don't.
really taking it to the rim.
Warriors,
so the free throw disparity
bogus.
wasn't that shocking to me. People look at it, it's like face value stat. It's like, oh my God, the Warriors are getting screwed. It's like, bro, it's the Warriors.
Well,
they ain't getting screwed.
since the referees put out their pathetic apology to the Lakers after that game where LeBron got fouled at the end, it was a joke. Ever since then,
losing
they've
hours
shot
of sleep,
sleepless nights. Yeah, give me a break.
Oh my God,
give me a break. Well, since then people have tracked it. They've shot more than double the free throws nearly as the next team, as the second most free throw shooting team, which is outrageous. Like they drive a lot. They're physical. They got guys who can draw fouls, but not that much more than the next team. So it's a little absurd, and it hasn't been super outrageous in the playoffs. There have been moments, but
if we get Lakers Celtics finals, that would be wild though.
I'm sure the NBA is pulling for that.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, just the Lakers being this far in the rounds is ratings gold.
They're living right now for sure.
For my take on the Lakers is that three things pop out for the Grizzlies not winning against the Lakers initially in the first round is Brandon Clark being out injured,
big time,
and Steven Adams with his rebounding,
huge,
which the last time you were on our podcast, Zach, you were just bewildered with amazement of how much this team missed him with his rebounding.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and the third and sore thumb, sore finger, bad zit that is the Grizzlies is Dylan Brooks' shooting.
Dear God.
Is what killed us.
Oh,
like all the open looks 4-on-5 offense essentially.
Brutal.
It's
killer.
unacceptable.
It's a killer to have a guy that has zero respect on the offensive end. Just absolutely kills your offense and every other guy with the ball, whether it's Ja, Tyus, Bane, they're playing 2-on-1 to initiate, and then it's just a guy wide open in the corner, and you have to make the pass because it's a wide open shot. But he missed nearly all of them.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
9 out of every 10 he would 9 out of every 10 he would just clank. And
No, he shot like, I think it was just under 20% for the series or something like that. I mean, just a horrific shooting and an overall horrific season for Dillon Brooks on the offensive end. I mean, he made second team all defense. We can give him some respect for that. It's well deserved. I mean, he truly put up a really
Shanghai's calling.
Impressive defensive season, but to
Ni hao.
Yeah, his warts outweigh what he brings on the defensive end. Unfortunately, like he'll get a contract.
His ego is the enemy.
Right. There's some
words
tea
of
leaves
Ryan
throughout
Holiday.
the season. Some of the quotes now in hindsight show a little bit of the resentment he felt with his role diminishing, being just a 3-and-D shooter and not being the guy. He wants to cook. He wants to,
He's
you know.
3-and-D.
He wanted-
3-and-D hold the 3.
Right.
Just the
He's
D.
just D.
he
no three.
wanted $25 million. I say
Give me a
go
break.
go kick
Good
rocks.
luck with that.
Yeah.
Right.
Bye. Don't let the door hit
No,
you on
he
the way
cost
out.
himself millions this year with how poorly he played.
Exactly.
And I'm really interested to see what his contract looks like, and if the Grizzlies facilitate a sign and trade, it would behoove
With-
both teams.
With
Brooks
that's the
and
thing. If you
Grizzlies.
couldn't trade him at a deadline, why would anyone do a sign and trade with you?
Well,
I
it's,
mean-
it could work for both teams, and it wouldn't be something that like we get really anything back. It just facilitates a trade, and it facilitates a contract because sometimes it's hard to fit someone into cap space without making some sort of trade. So that would really be the only case it would happen. I'd be surprised now with especially the reports out of the the end of the season. Some of the reports that came out try to make the Grizzlies look bad by saying under no circumstances are they bringing him back.
That was all. I was
fake.
almost
100% from
The
Dillon
organization
Brooks'
would
camp.
never say that.
Right. We don't even know what's wrong with Steven Adams' knee. To
Any
this point.
circumstances.
Like,
I can honestly see Zach Kleiman be like an awesome GM that he is, put his foot in the ground, saying something like that. I don't think it
no,
came from
the
his camp,
organization,
but
they're way
I
too-
believe it came
Yes.
from somebody
Well,
in
I
the
agree.
organization. Who
No,
that is,
the Grizzlies
we don't
feel
know.
that way. That's
Yeah.
Of
I'm
course.
confident the Grizzlies do feel that way, but they would
They're
never
way
leak
too-
that.
They're way too just like professional to say.
There's
something like that.
two things.
That's not the kind of front office they are.
All
When
Grizzly
Dylan Brooks
leaks-
is shooting the way he does,
I mean, yeah, but under
Well,
any
it's-
circumstances is a wild.
it just
statement.
sounds harsh, and the Grizzlies would never put out a statement that sounds that harsh. It makes your
organization
franchise
would
look
do
bad.
that.
Right.
Right.
It's foolish. That's why we know it wasn't from the Grizzlies, and also the Grizzlies never leak things to Shams. Every Grizzlies
true.
leak comes from Woj. So we're a Woj
They're a
team.
Woj team.
There's Shams teams. There's Woj teams. The Grizzlies are clearly a Woj team, and it came from Shams, which tells me it came from Dillon Brooks' agent, who had some weird tweets, was retweeting like anti-Grizzly stuff,
Yeah.
and then backtracked it later, saying that Shams was a liar. It's very strange.
It's messy, but it's like it's in the past, bro. Like we're moving on. He Dillon Brooks is just packaged up and out of here.
It's a tough look for Dillon because he took a lot of heat, talked a lot of trash, didn't back any of it up. Got clowned by Draymond Green on his podcast saying the dynasty starts after you.
Good.
And he's
just
right.
facts.
He's
It's
right.
all facts.
At the time, I thought he was right. It stung. And it was like, and Dillon, he had some good games after that, but it's true. You can't have that big of a black hole in your offense and have any chance. Clearly in the playoffs, the guys who can't shoot get completely disrespected, and it kills the flow.
Yeah.
You got to have guys who have to be guarded, and I'm hoping the Grizzlies make a move, make some kind of trade. I expect a trade, and upgrade at that position.
I wish we could have got something for him. That's the only.
Right,
that's
it's
the
a
only
bummer. If we'd have sold high 2 years ago, but at
Yeah.
the same time, it's like if that was who Dillon Brooks was, the 2 years ago, the Utah series,
Yeah.
Dillon Brooks was an awesome player.
Right.
Was a create your own shot, respectable 3-point shooter, and defended his butt off. And then he just lost all offensive rhythm and became
insert Bane, insert Ja, insert
Right.
Jaren Jackson.
The
on
improvement from all
offense,
those
yeah.
guys, I think he resented because it took away from his role. He thought he was a core piece, and he just was not. And now
he's been with the team for like 7 years.
He's the last
wild.
connecting piece to the grit and grind era.
Yes, you're right.
He had
So-
that grit and grind in him. He just didn't.
He was an important part of the rebuild of the Grizzlies, and he brought
Right.
a lot of heart
I'm sure some
and
team will
effort.
take him. Some
No,
team will-
he'll
some
get
team
us.
will.
He'll
I
get
believe
a
he's going to
contract for
Houston.
sure.
That's Houston or Orlando. That's the
What do
two
you have to-
teams.
Orlando. I'd be
Guessing.
surprised if he went to Orlando. I think Dallas could use him because they have such an offensive machine with Luka, and if Kyrie's back, but even Luka alone,
Yeah.
you just need
has to be a
defenders
niche-
around
a
Luka.
niche-
I'm requesting a
situation.
trade out of Dallas if I'm Luca. If I see Dillon Brooks sign with the team, I'm like, trade please.
Imagine Luka trying to make plays like he does, and it kicks it out to Dylan Brooks in the corner.
Right, that's tough. Dylan, the best thing for him is to just recognize what he is and embrace his role. And
that's the thing. He's delusional.
He's delusional.
He's just absolutely out of his mind.
In fairness, that delusion is what got him to this point, and it kept him in the NBA.
True,
is his
confidence
incredible belief in himself,
which is great, but to a fault.
Right now, you're in the NBA, and you're not that guy, but you've made a lot of money, and you can stay in the NBA if you just commit to defense and limited offense.
Tony Allen type.
Right.
That's what that's the difference between him and Tony Allen. He knew, Allen knew who he was.
Right. He would try to make plays every once in a while on the offensive
all
end,
those guys,
he
was
Draymond Green before Draymond Green, essentially.
Right. You look at the Herb Joneses, the Matisse Thybulles, those guys who were just, defenders first before everything else, and the offense is a bonus. And they're going to be in the league for a long time. And Dylan Brooks wants to be offense first, defense as a secondary thing, and it's not who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But I think the Grizzlies make an upgrade, even if it's not in a trade. There's actually there was a window where, 2 years ago Brooks was hurt for like half the season, and Zaire Williams started ahead of him, and the Grizzlies won 56 games.
True.
So it's like
Zaire Williams has been a big fat goose egg.
Right. He was terrible, but like maybe he was terrible last year. He just got to play with the starters.
Yeah.
It's like if you put literally anyone in Dylan Brooks' place.
Has somewhat of a shot,
or just doesn't do as much, takes less shots, plays their role.
Yeah. Even David Roddy had a good stretch of it.
Kennard was in the game,
bro.
Wayne and Durant. It was like, bro, what are we doing?
That was disgusting. I wish we could have saw more of that. It sucks that Kennard got hurt.
Right.
But like we've seen what it looks like. It's weird. It's like an addition by subtraction thing, at least on the offensive end. But at the same time, and there's so many things that you don't want to disrespect Brooks too hard. Maybe you do, but like. When Jaren was out at the beginning of the season, Dylan Brooks was in, our defense was last in the league. And we had this all-NBA defender, Dylan Brooks, right? But apparently not, because then when Jaren comes back, we go from last to first because of Jaren Jackson, not Dylan Brooks. So he benefits from having Jaren behind him, just like the rest of the team does. And so he's not that essential.
Right.
It's nice to have, but it's not essential. Any upgrade at that position, I think the Grizzlies are going to improve drastically. And, even if we can't make a trade, which would be a bummer, you put anybody else, Roddy, Zaire, Laravia, I don't care, Luke, anyone in that spot I think is an upgrade and will be better because of it.
Good riddance, DB. Anything else, Josh?
On
the Lakers?
On the Lakers, they actually proved once again what the Warriors, ever since they won their first championship and won the playoffs, they have once again exposed their weakness for the past almost 10 years. They are horrible in the paint. They have no paint presence in terms of bully basketball, which is, you saw a little bit about that with the Grit and Grind Grizzlies in 2014. Yeah. You definitely saw it this last series. You definitely saw it last year with them versus the Warriors. They can't bully ball in the paint. They can't do that. And they have Curry and Clay this bail, not so much last night with Clay Thompson. So the less he remembers that, the better.
They're relying on Kevon Looney.
Right, the Warriors are they have been from the beginning and to this day are a Steph Curry machine. Everything centers around him. No one bends a defense as much as Steph Curry. And everybody else is good or okay. We don't really know what those guys are until they're pulled away from the Steph Curry bandwagon or coattails. Right, those guys are not going to get the same level of wide open shots that they get when Steph Curry's not on the floor.
Mm-hmm. Or just space, not even just
open
space. Shots.
Yeah.
Like Jordan Poole has space
room
to
operate.
Exactly.
They all get to play 1-on-1 pretty much, and Steph has to play 1-on-4. Like everyone's looking at him when he has the ball or when he doesn't have the ball. So I have low belief in every Warriors player outside of Steph Curry and Draymond Green. Like the rest of those guys, we don't know what they are, and they may be garbage. A lot of the role players who have come and gone from the Warriors have disappeared. Like where are they? They're not in the league, half of them. And they're nobodies on other teams. So it's like anyone can get out there on the floor with Steph and look good.
Me, for example.
Yeah, Zach could be out there. Yeah. Josh could be out there. Heck.
Yeah. But in terms of the Lakers, now looking in hindsight, that trade at the trades they did make, it really was addition by subtraction with Russell Westbrook when they got him out of there. Yeah. So, I mean, they got really good depth pieces, and yes, that is a tough look for Russ. Yeah. So,
in fairness to Russ, he played well for the Clippers, and if without the Kawhi, Paul George injuries, maybe they're still in the playoffs. But like to get removed from the Lakers and for the Lakers to have this awesome run and now be a title contender is just more.
What was interesting to me is that the guys that they got from Minnesota weren't even that big of a factor. I mean, Vanderbilt played great against the Grizzlies, but like Beasley has been nothing.
Yeah, it's true.
D'Angelo Russell is like so hit or miss. He's had some good games, but it's like it feels like
Flip a coin
only when
every
they're up by
game.
20, he like goes off.
Yeah.
And sometimes when he was with the Timberwolves
Right.
and he played against us, I was like, bro, please give him the ball.
Totally. He was
Yes.
a disaster, and he's the one who did us in that game 5 or game 4,
Right.
which was so annoying to watch. Just he
Yeah.
randomly hits 3 threes in a row and wins the game for him. But like
It's
besides that
infuriating.
moment, he was terrible. Yeah, death by Russell is painful way to go.
But like even the guys they got didn't seem like it was that big a deal. They still relied on Austin Reeves. And,
It's the
and
Lakers
still
that were
relied
already
on
there.
Hachimura and all these guys.
Right.
But like those are good moves. It's just
Right.
you would think they'd make more.
Well, they did trade
difference.
for Hachimura, but yeah, besides those,
Yeah.
besides him, really, it's been the main guys: Davis,
I mean,
LeBron,
Davis's
Reeves.
rejuvenation or revival, whatever
Right.
you want to call it, has been the key for them.
So what do we got for the Lakers Nuggets series?
I think
Win loss prediction.
I'm
Nuggets are gonna
taking
handle
Nuggets in
business.
6 is my prediction.
Yeah.
I think it's I've been doubting the Lakers. I picked against them every single series, even the
True.
Grizzlies. I thought we had enough to beat them, even shorthanded. But they proved me wrong. But this time it's like the Nuggets are just so impressive.
Home court advantage, younger.
Right. The Denver home court advantage is cannot be understated. Like the altitude, the short days of rest, it is debilitating on teams coming in that they win. Like their home record every season, even when they're not a playoff team,
Yeah.
is impressive just from that alone.
Yeah.
So the back and forth with no time for your body to adjust, I mean, it's going to be brutal. And the Lakers are just older now; they're more worn out from another series. It's like all signs point to the Nuggets being able to beat these guys.
Anthony Davis could fall apart to a bag of bones at any moment.
Right, you're always worried about that. But if even with health, like I still think that the Nuggets have more than enough, and they've defended well enough too. Like I mean, they put the clamps on Durant, and Booker had that one game where he was crazy, but it was pretty weak the last couple. So
Yeah. Davis has got to go crazy again. If he's not effective,
Right.
then it's wraps. It's wraps. I don't think LeBron has. People have been saying LeBron's been like saving up energy and stuff, and I kind of agree. He's been playing off ball, not playing a lot
right,
of
that
defense.
closeout game, he was a monster.
But like, I mean, even when you see bursts of it here and there, but it's like it's not like he's about to go, 2016, 2012.
Right, he doesn't have that every night guy anymore, and he's got the hurt foot, so it's like he'll like he did the Grizzlies. He that last play of the game, he pulled from his reserves and got him through.
Right.
Closeout games, he comes out and he plays, he gives it all. And it's like those are his moments, and the rest of the guys carry him until those moments. And so it's like,
But what we are seeing from him, 38 years old, is
Remarkable.
insane.
Ridiculous.
It's insane.
it's remarkable.
It's one of the greatest things we'll ever see in sports.
I am done doubting the Lakers. For some reason, the basketball gods have deemed it the Lakers
understand.
season
Yeah.
to somehow make the
wild.
finals this year. So
It's gross.
I am now saying that this is the series the Lakers win in 7 games. Actually, in 7 games,
Hot
it'll
take.
be.
Game 7 in Denver is going to be
Burning
tough.
hot
but
take.
Okay,
I mean, Golden State won Game 7
Sizzling
in
hot
Sacramento.
take.
So
it's a little different.
Fajita take.
It's a little different. Sacramento's almost. A
I
home
expected
game for the
Sacramento to
Warriors.
win
That
that
take
game
is
in
like
Game
when a Mexican
7.
restaurant
That
when they bring the
was
fajitas out and they're still sizzling.
Oh yeah, it's spicy. Everyone in the restaurant turns their head to see.
That's that.
What
kind
did he
of take.
just say?
Okay. 7 games, Lakers win. All right.
What did he say?
that's just my prediction.
We could talk basketball for hours.
I want the Nuggets to win. I want them to win.
Yeah.
I don't want LA or Boston in the finals.
This is a rematch too. They played in the bubble.
That's true.
Lakers and Nuggets.
Oh,
If
yeah,
Jamal
that's right.
Murray is cooking like he has been, I think the Nuggets cruise.
Yeah, he's in bubble mode. Jamal Murray is.
right.
Yeah.
He's I mean, he is a tough shot maker, and he is, him and Jokic's chemistry is pretty nasty.
Who's Denver's point guard? Is it him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
KCP's the shooting guard.
That's right. Michael never swing the rock. Porter Jr.
Right. The Lakers don't have like
Never had a bad look.
Right. What hurts Jokic a lot is super quick driving guards, and they don't really have a lot because he's not a great rim protector, and they don't have a great backcourt rim attacking unit on the Lakers. So it's like, I think the strengths of the Nuggets outweigh the Lakers,
It's been
but
the
you
Lakers
never know.
The Lakers' defense has been their key.
Totally.
So it's like, I mean, they're going up against a high power offense. So we'll see. We'll
Right.
see.
I think, I mean,
A different offense too than what they've seen.
Are we checking out of the NBA Finals if it's Heat versus Lakers again?
No,
I mean,
I am.
wanna see
it's
Jimmy
a boring.
I don't
finals.
want to see that again.
I agree. That's not.
I would love to see LeBron get another championship. Just big picture wise, I mean, I think it'd be awesome.
It's definitely a
solidify
feather in
him
the goat
as-
cap.
Solidify him as the GOAT, in my opinion.
It'll be solidified with him and Kobe for sure. For Jordan, it's still the elusive six.
Yeah,
he would-
I
that
don't,
he
think, I
would
don't care
get.
so
the
much about
finals
that.
12 times. I mean, come on.
I think peak Jordan is better than peak LeBron, but the sustained greatness
For so
of LeBron.
long,
LeBron's a
yes.
complete player with a complete career. He's
Right.
just better.
And Jordan's like peak, it was higher than LeBron's peak, but the sustained greatness of LeBron
Jordan was playing against
far
part-time
outweighs the
plumbers.
greatness of the sustained Michael Jordan. It's not near as long of a run, and a fifth ring in year 38 would be incredible. And he's not the best player on his team, but it's still he would get the credit. And in my mind, he's the greatest for that reason. But it's our generation's GOAT versus theirs, and so it's like the debate will never
Their
die.
generation was significantly
Right? They're playing
worse.
against plumbers, too many white guys on the
Couldn't
court.
touch him. Couldn't
You
touch
know,
Jordan. Go
yeah,
watch the
it's-
90s hard defense. Go watch a full game.
Right.
And you'll
Listen, you old
You'll see
heads.
like a highlight of a hard foul. Oh, the 90s was tough.
Hard fouls does not equal physical defense. Okay, those are just flagrant fouls. Like
way
whoop-de-doo.
faster, it's
A
way
foul
harder.
then it was a foul now. Now it's like the amount of the monsters on the court now.
You get ejected if you do that
Right.
nowadays.
Let's get real. There was no one like a Giannis back then, and it's like there were some beasts, the Barkleys,
Shaqs.
the Shaqs.
In the Jordan era, really.
Right, there were some freaks out there, but like every other guy now is a freak of nature. So it's like the quality of competition
Everything is optimized, even health standpoint.
Right.
It's just a different era.
The further back
Technology.
you go,
Yeah.
it's like guys are just weaker, less athletic, smaller,
Yeah.
and so it just stands to reason that as you progress more
The
and
90s
more,
was just so slow. It's ISO. You
Yeah.
don't get double teamed. You can't really hand check. It's like
Bunch of
just a
mid-range.
different era.
I would argue that's how the Lakers have been playing this playoffs. Like all their wins, you can point to like they don't play fast.
Right.
The games they have lost are against teams that play fast and make their shots on offense.
Right.
well, they
the
like to play
Grizzlies and
fast
the
only in
Warriors showed that.
transition.
Right.
They
It's
rely on their
transition because
defense,
of their
to
defense.
create transition buckets.
Because
But
once
besides that,
once the Lakers' offense starts slowing down, it's like okay, now you're on their pace.
Right.
I mean, one, they are old, so yes, they are on their pace, and it harkens back to that '90s basketball where it's like okay, let's just set up the shot. We're taking all the shot time off the clock, and then bam, we make our shot.
Yeah.
Oh, you quickly miss yours. Now we get to drain the clock some more.
That's what
And-
they thrived on is bricks. Great defense turned into bricks, turned into transition.
right,
bucket.
offensive rebounding, and just
Yeah.
making a team have to hit shots from the guys that they don't want to have to shoot the shots.
Right. I mean, the
And
Warriors
that's the recipe.
The Warriors missing threes, and it's like long bricks. It's like a nightmare. Constantly, you're just in transition, and you're missing shots. It's just like a pile on of just like this game is
Yeah.
not going our way.
Yeah, very true.
With that aside, main topic of the show now is going to be
Right.
our experience of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And I'll
Sir.
open up to you, Corey, and we're going to give our first initial takes, and then
Sure,
we're going to
sure.
talk spoilers on it.
Okay.
So I'll start with you, Corey, and then I'll pitch it over to you,
Okay.
Zach. What are your initial thoughts on
My initial
Volume
thoughts,
3?
I walked out of the movie with a smile on my face. It was a great movie. I think it checked every box. I thought I laughed a lot. I got teary-eyed a couple times.
Oh, by the way, did you cry? Did you cry in the movie?
I did not.
I mean, is teary-eyed considered crying? Tears never run down my
Like
face.
one tear falls down your face.
No, it takes a lot for me
Almost.
to get actual tears to come out. But I'll get.
Josh is boo-hooing.
Oh yeah, I see Zach at lunch the other day, and I asked him, "Did you or Corey cry?" He's like, "No." I'm like, I wasn't bawling.
You're a
Like
soft guy. It's okay. Look, I
a few tears
understand.
strong.
Sometimes animals get to people.
No,
they get to me normally, but I just
The animal stuff always pulls on my heartstrings. Any stuff with like parents now. I have a daughter, so it's like the stuff with I won't spoil anything now, but there's some parentage stuff that like it just hits harder now than it used to. And even then, I was like, I would feel it then too. So it's like there are things that tug, and I could feel like the twinge in your heart when it happens, and it's just like the tears well
they
up.
kept
But I'm
you
never
on the
gonna
edge
cry.
the whole time of just
Right.
like, dang, is this really about to?
Right. Also, you never know. Everyone's expecting deaths in this movie, so we're on the edge of our seat with that. So you're always
James Gunn, little weasel, man.
Right.
He had us going into that movie expecting bad things to
right.
unfold.
And so, all that to say, I thought it was probably the best movie since Endgame, in my opinion. Best Marvel movie, and arguably a top 5. I haven't done my re-ranks yet, but best of the Guardians movies. May make that the best trilogy. It rivals the Captain America trilogy for sure as 1 and 2, and
probably better than the Spider-Man trilogy.
I think so.
Probably
I love Spider-Man.
Definitely better than Thor.
For sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
definitely.
It's up there. It's a top 5, and it's because it checked every box. Great action, great story, great villain. Obviously, we love the characters. The new edition characters were great. There was just a lot to like, and not really a lot to nitpick about it. I thought it was a great movie.
My turn?
Yep.
All right. I kind of second everything you said. I think we're not talking about any spoilers.
Not
right?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's going to be hard for me to do. I mean, overall, it did hit every beat that you expect. Great action sequences, great emotional beats, great characters sort of like put a bow on it, wrap up their story, and send them off into a new journey, but like not really like, what's next? You know what I'm saying? Like almost like finish out their stories, which was great to me. James Gunn is just he just knows these characters. He lives and breathes these characters, and you could tell. And one thing I noticed is that like some of the difference of these characters in like crossover movies versus in their own movies is kind of great. Like Star-Lord in Infinity War and Endgame is kind of dumb. Like he just. You know what I'm saying? Like in those scenes, he doesn't really understand what stuff is.
We saw a little bit of that.
He's
at
comic
the beginning
relief.
of the
And
movie.
it's like,
Number
it's like
3.
James Gunn almost acknowledges that in this movie a few times.
Right.
So I just like how he actually kind of has the heart of his characters in the movie, and how they sort of unfold. Like Star-Lord he's not incompetent. Like in Infinity War, in that scene where he's like, "Don't call him plucky. We don't even know what that means," or whatever. Like they just make him as this dumb idiot. That's
He's like a
which
Drax
it still
almost.
works, but
Right,
it's just
right.
it's now in the actual movies he's like a killer. He's competent. He's
Right.
been through the ringer.
He's a seasoned vet.
Yeah, I mean, he's like fixing up like some heist as he's just talking. You know what I'm saying? Like that scene where he's like, "Yep, doo-doo-doo, done."
Right.
And so why are you talking to me like that? You know what I'm saying? Like he's that good that he can kind of just casually listen to music and kill people and do what he needs to do. So I liked his character in this movie big time. Yeah, we can get more specific, but I think overall it's on par with all the third installments. Ragnarok. What is it? No Way Home.
No Way Home.
Home.
Civil War. Iron Man 3.
Yeah, well, no, Iron Man 3
okay.
sucks, but
It's all right,
I did not like that one. But anyways, it really did bring the arcs to the close, which I loved, but not in like a, I guess it's spoilers, so let me not.
Yeah.
Scooch in a little bit. You're almost
Leaning
getting caught
out,
off.
yeah.
I'm in it. I'm just chilling.
All right.
What are your thoughts, Josh?
All right, my thoughts. I don't know if you're big Spider-Man fans or not.
Love
To say
Spider-Man.
that, to say that no,
Spider-Man
this is not as good as No Way
We're in
Home.
my office right now.
So-
There's
So
a
it's not
Spider-Man
as good?
comic on
Yeah.
the wall.
You say it's the best movie since Endgame.
I think so. I love No Way Home, but I thought a little bit of, it's been enough time now. Great movie, but just a lot of fan service over story, which I like. I love the
about
fan
Spider-Man?
service stuff. Yeah. Good movie, but like so many weird things you can poke holes in, and which are, not what you do when you
As
watch
far
a
as
movie. But
like storytelling
Right.
and all that, I think this is better than No Way Home. No Way Home had its epic moments and things, but
agreed. But like No Way Home benefited a lot from that sort of stuff, from the cameos and the multiverse stuff, and Guardians didn't need that.
right.
Yeah.
So the movie wasn't as crowded and felt more like
I would say
Guardians movie.
I would say Guardians 3 is, again, another great movie since No Way Home and Infinity War. And, Endgame, yeah.
Sure.
I consider those movies like part 1, part 2.
Sure.
It was initially supposed to be called part 1, part 2. Great way to cap off a trilogy. Number 2 was like the low point
Yeah.
of the 3.
Yeah.
Number 1 was great. Number 2 is okay. Number
Right.
3, we all think it's awesome.
And you kind of get there.
Yeah.
Some of their arcs keep going in other movies too, which helps.
And I rewatch after watching Volume 3. I went back and watched Volume 1, and you start seeing the seeds
Yep.
that you didn't think were sown for a purpose. You see them fulfilled their purpose in this third movie finally with a few story elements.
great writing, great storytelling.
Yep.
Rocket is the soul and heart of this trilogy.
Yeah.
Rocket Raccoon, the soul and heart of this
He really
of this
was the main
trilogy.
character of this movie.
I followed a James Gunn thread on Twitter where he was answering questions, basically yes or no, and people ask, "Is Rocket the main character of Guardians of the Galaxy?" And he says yes. So there are a lot of things that eggs and seeds he planted. I don't know why he planted an egg, but basically
Easter eggs, yeah.
Easter eggs. Seeds he planted in Guardians 1 that he intended the whole time. I think he initially said, not straight up, but like hinted at that he had written the whole story from the beginning. So he had these plans all the way, and maybe the end game stuff.
Written a story.
Right. He wrote the end at the beginning. The whole thing was written out the way it was supposed to go.
This movie was supposed to come out a year after Endgame. That's how complete the script was. So.
Conspiracy Brain says that the Endgame stuff threw off his plan when the Gamora died,
but then
came
she was
back.
brought back. So
Right.
yeah.
So it messed up what his full plan was,
also,
and
think,
maybe it did, but he won't say that.
Taika Waititi did him a favor by solving the Thor Guardians situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He
He
kind of
didn't want that either.
Took that off of his plate.
The
of,
Asgardians of
having
the
to
Galaxy.
write Thor into the beginning of his movie
I think
would have been a nightmare.
I think you could have done away with that in the first 5 minutes of
Right.
Guardians.
But Taika
before.
Waititi just did it for him. He did it for him, which was clutch.
Yeah.
The beginning of Guardians 3 was awesome.
Yes.
Like it set up that movie as like, okay, we're in for a ride.
For sure.
We're in for a ride.
And
if that was Thor goofiness, frat bro Thor like ruining the beginning, kind of would have taken away.
I love Thor. All right. So
that training montage from Love and Thunder was just really, really funny.
It was fun, but it did sort of set the tone for the movie. It's
it
like,
was
this
just
is
a
going to be
movie,
goofy.
right.
Yeah, it is. It is a goofy movie
with a very serious villain. It was very strange, but we can talk about Thor another
Mm-hmm.
day.
Yeah.
So, Guardians 3, outside of Quantumania, continues the thread for Marvel Studios that their third movies in their franchises are on the low point with Iron Man 3, good, to the rest of them being great with Civil War, Ragnarok, No Way Home, and now Volume 3 with Guardians of the Galaxy. So they seem to... Oh, Infinity War, number 3 in that franchise. They nailed their third movies for most franchises that will nail the first movie and the second movie and then have a clunker of a third movie. That's not the trend with Marvel, apparently. So their downtrend seems to be the second movie, apparently.
There's an interesting thought behind that. Like in a universe like Marvel, that it's almost more of like a TV series, just movie quality, because they're all connected. And so you think about you're watching a series on Netflix or something. It's like it does take a while for things to get going, and the best parts of the show generally are the end, the finales. And so it kind of stands to reason that would apply when you have a connected universe where movies are all, almost episodic in their, as they go through.
We're film 32 in this universe.
Right. So it makes sense that those are where they really hit their stride, because you're building the same characters and they're getting more and more, narrative and more personality, and you care more and more. And so by the time the movie 3 comes around, you've known them and you have hours of time put into them, so that they just care a lot more than the one-off movies that they're compared to. So I don't know. I think that's interesting, but I agree.
Yeah.
The difference between this movie and Quantumania, which we talked about last time, was that this
Don't
movie.
like that movie?
No, it was
Mid?
not very good.
It was okay.
I mean, it was entertaining. But
Oh,
it
yeah,
wasn't
you didn't
good.
see it with us?
I saw it with you, but I wasn't
that's
on the
right.
podcast
Oh, yeah.
that time. I couldn't make it, but
Yeah,
I thought it was.
It was. You could just tell the difference. This movie had some real, sets and characters and thought that goes into it. And Ant-Man, the whole fun of Ant-Man is that he's an ant in a big world. So it's like they didn't even do that with the Quantum Realm. It's just kind of green screens and
Didn't
CGI
feel like an
and
Ant-Man
stuff.
movie.
Yeah, it wasn't the right setting to go for that. But that was probably. You have to assume a lot of the budget that was going to go to Ant-Man probably went into this one, knowing that this one was going to be good. But anyways, I think the Ant-Man thing just missed the mark and continue the narrative that Marvel is on the decline. This one sort of saved it, in my opinion.
And we'll see.
Good timing in this movie to come out and be a huge win.
Definitely.
Thing when kind of public opinion was sort of dipping, and the Disney Plus stuff was pretty much all.
Next up is Secret Invasion in June, which looks really good. It looks really good.
Looks good. A lot of them have looked good in the promo material and have not delivered. But fingers crossed, this one does.
There's only been a few Disney Plus shows that have stuck with me. The WandaVision,
was decent.
Loki,
Was great.
and the rest could.
I liked Loki.
Yeah.
There's decent stuff in Captain America, but not very good.
Oh yeah, Falcon and Winter Soldier. I thought that was good. Last episode had a little left to be desired, but I thought that was a decent
She-Hulk
series.
was complete garbage.
She-Hulk or
Complete garbage.
Ms. Marvel. The problem with the Disney Plus things, jeez.
Oh yeah, Miss Marvel. I totally forgot about that.
I was like, I love that
It's
show.
the most forgettable thing of all time.
Yeah.
Moon
That's the
Knight.
thing.
Moon Knight was good.
Yeah, it was
This is
interesting.
okay. They're all mid though. Even the
Right.
best ones are still mid compared to the movies, which
Mm-hmm.
maybe is the way it's designed.
Werewolf by Night was really.
I didn't watch
Was
that.
Never gonna
really
watch
good.
that probably, but I'm glad it was okay.
It's really good. It's really good. I
It's a
recommend
one-off
it.
or a
Effect on
series?
anything.
It's a one-off. It's like a mini movie,
Oh, gotcha.
but it exists within this universe.
Gotcha. I mean, the Disney Plus stuff just has a lower budget and less, it's not as entrenched as the movies are into the timeline and storyline. Except, I guess, WandaVision was probably the most
With
deeply-
WandaVision and now Loki with
Loki
Kang.
somewhat with
Yeah.
Kang.
Kind of started.
The introduction of Kang was a big thing, which made it good. I mean, that
Yeah.
them going all in on that was what made it pay off. WandaVision never really paid off what you hoped it would. In my opinion, there was a lot of like
It was
hype going in.
It was marketed as the multiverse trilogy of WandaVision, No Way Home, and Doctor Strange. Well, I'm like, no, the
those
the
don't-
trilogy
those don't
is
together at all.
the trilogy is Loki, No Way Home, and then Doctor Strange, and then you can pepper in WandaVision if you wanted to, because what happened with Loki and Kang at the end there is what is the purpose of what Kevin Feige said behind the scenes of what made the spell go wrong is these multiple universes that was tapped into.
I guess I think the thing with the Disney Plus shows, they leave something to be desired every time. They're just not gonna measure up to the movies when people go into it hoping it's movie level, movie quality, and like from the acting to the effects to
I
the
thought
to
Loki
the
kind of had a
story.
movie feel to it. That's
Right,
why.
It
that's
did,
the only one
yes.
that I can put on par.
Yeah.
The rest of them were kind of disappointing.
But if
And-
Loki was a movie, it would feel a little bit too underwhelming. So it made sense.
We'll
That's
see,
about the
yeah.
only one that felt like, okay, this hit.
But they had some of the better actors in there. I mean, they had Owen Wilson in there. It's like they
true.
have some real
Sylvie,
guys, and Sylvie and what's his name, Tom Hiddleston, were all like A-level guys and girls to carry the show, and like you got what's her name, Monica Rambeau. I just from the moment she was on camera, I didn't care for her, and
her introduction in WandaVision was really good. Of her coming back like post snap,
yeah, no, I agree. That was
seeing
a
the
really cool
reaction
scene.
to that was a great introduction.
Right, what
that was a
tied
great
back
introduction.
to the main story made it interesting, and then when it escaped that again, it loses.
In the previews of this movie, there's a Marvels trailer or whatever.
The Marvels.
Dude,
the
that
groans
looks
in the audience. I mean, it
so
just
whack.
it was pretty weak.
But
But
this man Josh said, "I'm gonna pass on that."
I liked Miss Marvel. It's actually like
Oh,
I wouldn't say it's a great show. It's a really good story for what it is,
right.
and it's not intended to be a multi-seasoned thing like Moon Knight or WandaVision. Like it's in that ilk
Right.
of it's not multi-seasons like Loki or What If.
Right.
All right, let's
per
get into
se.
spoilers.
All right, spoilers, and I will just kick this off of why you think I am such a teary-eyed, soft person. Rocket's friends
That was
tug on your heart
Oh yeah.
the moment they are introduced, and oh my goodness, the way they go out.
Floor.
I was just
Teefs.
Teeth and floor.
Dude, Rocket's first words being hurts. Oh, that was
tough. That was a hard one. I felt it on that for sure. It's like I was there with you. All the moments that you're talking about, like they stung me too. I'm
Yeah.
just
not a
I'm just
crier.
too much of a man to let the tears flow. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that honestly, that's why it felt like at the end of the movie. We'll just start at the end because it felt like the no death, like everyone surviving was kind of earned. You know what I'm saying? Like they all went through. I mean, almost every character was near death,
Pretty much.
and it felt earned. And you had those Rocket's friends that you explored that died.
Right,
And then
they were
if you think
moments
about
of
it, it's
death,
not like
for
these
sure.
movies. The Guardians movies are not afraid to kill people. Yondu died, the first one.
Yeah.
second one.
Second one, sorry. Gamora technically died. Peter Quill's mom dies in the first scene. Who else?
Adam Warlock's mom dies in an explosion.
That was a great death because I couldn't stand her. I'm like,
that's funny.
yes.
I could tell she was gonna die when she's like they brought her back.
It's like, mother.
Yeah.
Bam.
I actually kind of liked his character too. He was like kind of dumb.
He
in a
was
different way.
underutilized. He was underutilized for what they
I
were
agree.
teasing him for so many years.
agree.
But I kind of liked it though because you don't want some perfect dude to come in and just
He'd
be
be
unstoppable.
He was
Howard,
integral. He was integral in the Infinity. Like I know it's the comics, but
right.
But he was
He's
integral
like
in the
Jesus
Infinity
in the
War.
comics. He's
Yeah.
unstoppable.
So, but
You don't
that's the
want
thing. That moment in the movies passed. So his moment to shine was gone. So now they have to create.
I like
a
the
new
idea.
way.
whole
I like
new
the
way,
idea of he
yeah.
hatched too early and he's kind of dumb. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It kinda
that
works
was
for me.
funny, and he still showed some overpoweredness. You know,
That
he
first scene,
survived
him
the-
coming flying into the rock music, whatever, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And that whole fight scene
He
was
went
like
ham at the beginning,
epic.
dude. He's the one who
Epic.
put Rocket on life support,
Yep.
and it's funny when they're like, they're interrogating that guard or whatever, and he just obliterates it.
Yeah. He,
That was
he just
pretty
kind of
funny.
too powerful for his own
Right.
good.
That was
Oh,
pretty funny.
Perfect
God.
to me. I thought he was a great character. They added a different
A
dynamic.
nice side
now they have
character.
him on his side, which is even cooler.
Right. If they make more movies and he's a part of the team, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well,
how
they teased that at the post credits.
Right.
Scene.
If they do,
so
it,
he is
though,
on the team.
It won't be James Gunn. It'll be somebody else coming in. So we'll see what that
Yeah.
looks like if
They're
they
set.
ever
They're
do
all.
it.
I mean, it's another part of the Young Avengers kind of set up, like the next generation. Of
Like
everybody.
they've had teases of that. I don't buy they're making it.
I agree.
There
Dude,
is
it's
not
definitely
going to be a movie. It is not. It'll
Yeah, I
be
agree.
it'll be a one.
Think
It'll
about
be
it.
like Werewolf by
Give me
Night.
one
Here's
Young
my-
Avenger.
It'll be
that
like a
people care
Werewolf by
about.
Night,
Here's my
like
theory.
Guardians Christmas special. It'll be a Disney Plus one-off mini movie with
Here's
Young
my
Avengers.
theory. When it comes to Secret Wars, all of the legit guys that everybody loves are going to be out into this Secret Wars universe, and then all the Young Avengers are going to have to. They're going to be left behind, having to
I
defend.
can
the
see
Earth.
that.
You
I
know what
can
I'm
see
saying?
that.
You got Kate Bishop. You've got
Who cares?
the new Guardian. I mean, I don't like any of them.
That's what I'm
just
saying.
saying.
They won't make a movie if no one
You got
cares.
Hulk's son. You've got
Who cares?
Oh,
who
God,
else?
no.
What are the other next generation people? There's more.
You got Ant-Man's
Spider-Man.
daughter. Who
You want
cares?
to include him in
Ant-Man's
If
that?
Spider-Man's in, they have a chance.
Yeah,
but if he's
Spider-Man.
not, and you're just relying on all these like
Spider-Man is the new
knockoffs.
face
So
of the
you got,
MCU, so
the-
he's not going to be the face of the young,
Panther?
Young Avengers.
Black Panther girl with the Iron Man suit, kind of.
Shuri. Yeah, I don't know,
No,
dude.
what's her name?
Oh,
Ironheart.
Riri,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
Ironheart.
That's
Who
what I'm saying,
else?
dude. Every young Avenger that you can name,
It's
no
gonna
one
be a
cares
small
about.
piece of Secret Wars, in my opinion. It's not going to be like the main characters. We're trying to push these guys in the spotlight.
If
It's
they're
going to
doing-
be a side quest
Right.
of Secret Wars.
There won't be. A
I think
full
those side
movie
quests
for a while.
will be explored on a Disney Plus platform. I don't think it'll be on a
Maybe.
on a
I'm just saying,
movie
I think they're
front.
setting all this up to be a part of the Secret Wars because the Secret Wars will have the bangers, guys. You know, all the real A-list people.
Yeah, we'll see.
In the Secret War fight, and then because why would the guy like want to include Kate Bishop and all these people he doesn't even really know about? The guy is in Kang or Doctor Doom. whoever we see.
Hawkeye's still alive. Last I checked,
Right,
so.
he is.
Yeah, but like all these next generation people are going to be a part
There are
of
a
it
bunch of-
eventually.
The issue with those people is that no one cares about those characters, and
Right, that's why they'll be a
90% of
side
them,
thing.
right? 90% of them are from Disney Plus shows.
All the kids
which,
in Thor, Love and Thunder. Yeah.
Yeah, Thor's daughter.
Heimdall's kid,
Yeah, Heimdall's kid. All these people are going to be a part of this team that's going to come together and
potentially
defend
and
the
it could
Earth as
be
the
a-
Young Avengers.
It could be a fun element of something larger. I agree. That's at best. That's what I would hope they would do instead
That's
of
what
its
it's gonna
own
be.
thing.
It's 100% theory.
Right, it's theory, and I don't disagree. I think everything changes when the Fantastic Four come into the fold. And the rumors are that they have some casting rumors. Adam Driver, Kylo Ren potentially
Oh,
as
snap.
Mr. Fantastic, which I kind of like.
I want Jim Halpert.
He's not going to be the guy.
It's a bummer.
The rumors are pretty strong for Adam Driver.
Should be sick. He's awesome.
Yeah,
I want Mr. Office Man from
John
Jim Halpert.
John
Krasinski? I don't
Krasinski
think
and
it's gonna
Emily
happen,
Blunt.
I
That's,
like
They-
Emily
they'd be
Blunt.
that is the
They would be
dream.
great.
Make it happen.
They already
I
done
know.
it too. That's the thing.
They did.
That was a.
Yeah, the fan
was
service,
not-
I think,
that was
the
fan
sign that
service.
they're not going to do it because they
Yeah.
wouldn't. They wouldn't.
It
keep
was
secret this
awesome
long.
though. It was
agree.
unbelievably
I agree.
cool to see.
I agree, but they're not. They wouldn't have done that and kept it a secret this long. They would have just been like, "He's the guy." If they were going to keep it him,
Yeah.
Don't you agree?
This
They
movie's
kept that
this movie's
secret
still
for
a
so long.
ways off, so they could still
Sure.
sign contracts and keep it hush hush.
There's potential, but he has not been included in any rumors since then. I liked Emily Blunt in the role too. I thought they would have been great, but
The rumor I last heard was that Margot Robbie
I heard
was
that.
technically, that she was air quote offered a contract for Sue
Right.
Storm. If that is pulled off,
that'd be a
that
big
would
get.
be fantastic.
Pun
If that
intended.
happened, no pun intended.
We're on the,
That would be.
the sidest of sidetracks right now.
Yeah, how do we get over here? That's my fault.
Yeah.
I mentioned it.
Okay.
All right,
I started
back
talking
to
about theory.
back
That's
to,
what it was.
back to
Yeah.
Guardians. The connective tissues I actually once again rewatching the first movie is his grandfather was there homing him in the first movie.
Yeah.
And then they come back to him at the end of the second, at the
was a-
third
it's a good
movie.
way
Yeah,
to-
very
good way
full
to
So
circle the
I'm
whole
rewatching
story.
the first movie. I'm like, oh wait, this is this. Wow,
Yeah.
He brought.
Very-
I mean, every character in the
had
group
purpose.
had a closing arc to this, which I thought was brilliant. Drax is
brought
now a
everyone
dad
full
to all
circle.
these
Yeah,
adopted
yeah.
kids. He has his new purpose.
Jip, jip, joop, joop.
Nebula is sort of
Jip.
defending the people now. Nowhere was a great little spot too. I like that being.
That
the
was
base.
that was great to
It's
see.
a great
that
set.
happen. Mhm.
Cool little
Yeah.
area, and then it turning into a big cannon at the end was funny.
What's Kraglin clutching up with the arrow was
Yeah.
cool. I mean,
Yeah.
you knew it was coming.
Yeah, facts.
Um,
Yondu with the cameo too. That was kind of nice.
Yeah,
It's like, you got this.
Use
He's
more
the only
heart.
cameo really, besides maybe the Ravagers.
Right.
Sylvester
Stallone.
Stallone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were underused too, in my opinion.
I mean, it gets crowded
The
when
other
you try to fit
Avengers.
too much action in there
Agreed.
with other characters. So
Mhm.
I thought it was well.
I thought they had a cool
Played.
couple scenes where they
Yeah.
with the
What
wizard,
was
the
that? That was
sorcerer
that
came
sorcerer
through.
that did the emoji.
Yeah, he emoted.
Yeah, is he for real? Like he's doing some Doctor Strange magic.
He's a character in the comics. I watched the video. I can't
okay.
remember what he is, but he's
Interesting.
not just some random dude they threw in.
Mhm. Miley
Yeah.
Cyrus was actually in the post-credit scene number 2. She was like that robot head,
Right.
but they
Oh, yeah.
but they got someone else to do the
Yeah,
robot
yeah,
head.
yeah.
Yeah.
I forget who that character is.
They did full circle. Every character came back around, and it was a great. It's really hard to land the plane on these things and nail the ending. Like people,
You could tell that there was just some legit thought that went into the
For
script.
sure.
It wasn't just like, all right, what are we going to do with these guys?
Mhm.
How are we
every
going to close
show
this out?
ever. The key to making your show great in people's minds
Start at the
and
end.
to last to stand the test of time is to nail the ending.
Yeah.
Which is hard to do. That's why Game of Thrones struggled with fans now are kind of whatever about it in some ways
So many
because the
shows.
ending was bogus.
Yeah, so many shows deal with that. They got all these people locked in, and it's like it's just
hard
like you just
to
keep
do.
grabbing cash because it's like people are locked
Right.
in, and then
Right.
the ending sucks.
Sidetrack to Game of Thrones. The reason it ended so abruptly is because those brothers were supposed to do
It's
a
supposed to be 10 seasons.
no. They were in line to do an Old Republic Star Wars movie,
That's a rumor that they got put on to do Star Wars and some stuff for
and then
Netflix.
they wanted to end
So they
Game of Thrones
rushed it.
quickly.
Right,
Yeah,
right. That's the
that's the hot
conspiracy.
button rumor.
And
Happened with,
if that's true, that's
happened
freaking
with
lame.
Naruto. Naruto was supposed to end at Pain arc, and then it just kept going because
Because it was
doing
so successful,
well.
right.
It's like top 10.
Same with Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z was supposed to end at the Cell arc, and they're like, "Well, this is everyone loves Goku and wants to keep it going, so
Which
Goku,
is
you're
like, I
back
would
to
do
life."
The same thing, you know.
I could care less about Dragon Ball Z.
Wow, dude!
So
I grew up on Dragon Ball Z.
And Naruto.
Goku's the goat.
Anyways,
I don't
I
see- I
thought
don't see
this movie, some of the music choices were fun as always. Some of the
Yeah.
action
Well placed,
sequences
yeah.
were fun as that scene where they're in the hallway and they're like all just kind of
Yes.
bouncing off each other. I mean, that was just
A
awesome.
great action.
everybody
That was awesome.
everybody had their moment.
That was probably
Yes.
the best part. And then even at the end with Rocket like being prepared to fight this guy and face him off and like having the gravity boots and then he like hits him with the blast and everybody gets a chance to punch him. It was just so satisfying. The villain I thought was
How do we
great.
think about the villain? What do we think
I
of
think
him?
he was just pure evil, which I kind of loved.
Right.
I
He was bad to the bone, to his core,
Yeah.
but formidable.
Right.
And
Didn't want to take over the universe, just wanted to do something.
just was messed
you know,
up. Just
was on his
Make it
own.
more
annihilated.
perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. His own creation,
Right,
an
right.
entire civilization, just disintegrated them at the
Yep.
stroke of his hand. And so it's like,
That caught me by surprise, actually.
Yeah.
yeah, no, that was brutal.
Yeah.
And it's like
But those characters were kind of like nothing. You know what I'm saying? They weren't really.
sure, if they
he
were
made
like
them.
what he said, that they were never going to
Right.
have their own free thought, they were
Yeah.
just what they were programmed, then I guess it's not as hard to swallow. But that aside, the level of villain that he was is, he's up there as one of the memorable villains and a formidable villain that everyone loved to see get his comeuppance. And I guess we didn't see him die. So we don't know.
He was left on that plane that exploded into smithereens. So I would
that's got it.
safe
Yeah,
to
he's
safe to
probably
assume
toast, yeah.
he's toast.
Wait, no, didn't they?
They didn't take him off it.
They left him laying there
Yeah.
with his skeleton face because Rocket tore his face up when
Yeah.
he initially early in the movie.
And then we have Michelangelo, Alan Warlock, Peter
That
Quill
was
moment.
hilarious.
So yeah, I thought they were gonna let him die when his face started blowing up. I was like,
Yeah.
is he
It
dead?
just
I'm like,
felt
there's
the
no
most
way.
Random time he
Gee,
I
died.
know.
It was kind of like. I mean,
It was
that's
a-
the thing. Everybody was pushed to the brink. Maybe besides like Mantis. I don't think she.
Nebula,
had a
yeah, Mantis.
death moment.
I guess when the what are those things called? The little monster things that
Oh,
she
yeah,
took over was
yeah.
pretty funny.
What are those?
Those little squid guys.
What are they? I forget what they're called.
Whatever they're called. They Mantis does her little charm move on
Yeah.
him, which is pretty funny. But I guess that was their near death moment.
Yeah. Everybody. I mean, it felt like they earned everyone living happily ever after.
Right.
And having their new life.
So there was one point I remember talking to somebody after the movie. They had seen it. We were discussing it, and they were talking about she didn't realize that Nebula and Rocket were that close. And I was like, well, you got to remember,
Yep.
everyone else got
5 years.
dusted.
Yeah.
and it was just Rocket and Nebula alone for 5 years, and so they got super tight. So you could see moments when she was like, felt the weight of his condition more than
which was brilliant
expected. Yeah, I mean,
because she's
subtle,
heartless from the beginning.
right? Very subtle, great performance by what's her name, Karen Gillan in the role, even with no eyeballs, like just blackness in her
giving
eyes.
him upgrades and stuff. He gave her that, or she gave
The
him
new
that
arm is busted, bro. She's freaking unkillable. It's crazy.
And then she gave, remember at the Christmas special, she gave him that Bucky's arm, which
Bucky's
was still a plot.
Yes.
How did she get that? How did she get the arm?
funny.
No one's been able to figure it out.
Yeah, we'll see if they ever address it, but it was pretty funny. I mean, I thought she was, another subtle heart of the movie.
Yeah. Groot technically died too. That was another one. That's what I was trying to think of. He's died.
Right. That's Groot's dad died, I guess, technically. Yeah. So new Groot is just a different Groot.
So they're not afraid to kill people. And so that's why I was like, somebody's dying in this movie. The way they set it up. And even James Gunn, I'm pretty sure, had some tweets or something.
He said, yes, 2 people died, but it was other people. Not any of the Guardians, which is, a misdirect. But
yeah. But it felt like earned. Like, if they have to do a whole nother, like, space funeral and it's, like, ends on this sad thing where we left somebody behind, even though we've already grieved all these people's past and things, it would have been redundant, in my opinion.
Right. I think it was a satisfying way for it to end. It didn't feel we got shortchanged. Like, the stakes were there, but there wasn't like, someone has to die. Like, Iron Man had to die to save the universe. Right. And, like, that was a great payoff.
Exactly. He did it in the first Avengers.
And it was a full circle moment. Like, not willing to make the sacrifice play, and he did it. Yep. He knew he had to do it. It was the only way, and he got it done. And so there wasn't a thing like that in this where someone had to. I thought maybe Nebula would go down with the ship when she was like taking control with her arm.
Yeah.
That was when I was like, ooh, she might be the sacrifice here. Yeah. But she made it out, which I wasn't mad at.
Yeah.
And then at the end, the post-credit scene, if we want to talk about those, they say that the legendary Star-Lord will return, which I thought was strange.
Right.
In what way, in what form will he return?
Secret Wars.
Oh, okay.
Probably.
Yeah.
So? Probably. He's got to.
That's the only logical thing.
Some kind of thing. I mean,
because I think for folks like Tony Stark, if Steve Rogers, Tony Stark, Peter Quill do come back, it will not be in Kang Dynasty. I think it's going to, just my honest opinion, I think it's going to be in Secret Wars where it's like
how would that
the
work?
whole shish kebab just comes down and everybody's in there.
Yeah. It's just everyone in the entire,
so they just revive people to come
everybody
back
exists. No, it would be like a different
Star's
timeline.
Oh. No, I know you're talking about Stark in there.
Different universe.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it's a multiverse battle.
Basically,
is what it
Secret Wars is basically like
in essence
another universe that it's basically like all these guys battle against each other, and Doctor Doom was like overlord of it.
And the winning universe survives. Is that the case?
I don't remember what the whole plot is.
You had a theory.
I did have a great.
You had a theory, and I was blown away by it.
The void on Loki.
That's Battle
World.
Yeah. That's the setting
if you don't know
Secret Wars.
Kind of plot.
That makes sense. That's not a bad theory at all.
It's a perfect setup. Actually.
Where they people get like zapped into the void.
Yep, they get pruned into the void,
and that's the void. Yeah,
that's going to be
not a bad
world.
theory. I wonder now. There's I had some theories that were loose, but like there's signs for them. Like, and I'm unsure because of the controversy with what's his name, Kang's actor.
Jonathan Majors.
Oh, yeah.
He seems to be in the clear because of the girl that came out against him. There were TMZ released security footage of the night before, like literally hours before that happened. She was out clubbing and whatnot, and then it's just like
we won't comment on those on the speculation, but it has my theories somewhat in jeopardy if they are forced to go a different direction or involve him less, even though he's a critical piece of the.
He's the Thanos of this saga.
So hopefully that everything works out. Yeah,
then they just probably pivot to Doctor Doom or something.
They're scrambling. Yeah, I don't know. They're scrambling.
I think they're saving Doctor Doom. They're saving him.
Yeah. No, Doctor Doom will be clutch when he.
Doctor Doom. Those are the only two they really haven't gone down the road.
Sure.
But anyway, pretty iconic though.
So what's your theories there?
I mentioned this after we walked out of Quantumania, or maybe it was while we were in it. Like, you look at some of the symbolism in the quantum realm and Kang's empire, like the rings, the force fields that came from the rings, all that sort of stuff, very much, resemble Shang-Chi's rings. And at the post-credits scene of Shang-Chi, they talk about the rings and the signal it's sending, and it's like pinging somewhere. And that's Wong and who else? Hulk, I think, was there, and they're talking about it. And there's
Hulk and Captain Marvel.
Yeah, and they're like, "What's going on with these rings?" Right? So there's something out there that it's signaling to, or something in the quantum realm. We're not sure. They don't pay it off, but I think those things are going to be connected. And we haven't seen or heard from Shang-Chi in a while, which I really did like that movie.
Yeah, facts. He has been kind of in silo for a while.
Right, I thought he would. The movie did well, and people received it well. I thought he was going to be
sure
kind of
he'll
a
be
core
key part,
piece.
but haven't seen him since.
Hopefully, and we'll see. But there will be some connected piece for that. And they have they have their separate world too, in their portal. So if that comes into play, I'm not sure, but I do think there's something connected between those two things. But they may have laid that seed and then never intend to go back to it. I guess that's happened before. They don't necessarily have to tie every loose end.
Yeah. Why don't we talk about what we didn't like about the movie? Maybe some cons.
Oh,
Sure.
I mentioned it earlier. Adam Warlock for what the Easter eggs that would drop as early as 2013, and 10 years later, it's like this is what we got right now. Like, I mean that's just me. That's just me.
I get what you're saying.
That's just
I feel
me.
like that if they're gonna do Adam Warlock, that was the only way to really do it. Unless you paid off many years later.
It would feel cheap to make him come in and all of a sudden be like this galaxy-breaking character immediately.
They had to make him different because in comics, he's like I said, he's involved in
the Soul Stone in his head. He's
exactly
basically Jesus of the comics.
Right. Space Jesus.
Yeah, he was unstoppable. He was the one that beat Thanos. I'm pretty sure. Right.
He is.
He is one of the folks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So you didn't like how Adam Warlock was portrayed?
Underutilized is the term I would use. Another thing I did not like is, again, for consistency, they carried over with the initial beginnings of the movie with Star-Lord, with Peter Quill like being that goof head, like idiot per se, but like they show him drunk essentially at the beginning of this movie. So
it's in mourning though.
So yeah, he's lost his girlfriend. Yeah.
Right. He's just depressed. And I think that's.
If we were, again, this is what carries the theory of this movie was set to come out right after Endgame. Makes because sense. If this was on the heels of Endgame, this makes sense. Right. When we see timeline-wise, this Endgame and then going to Love and Thunder, he looks like mid volume 3 Peter Quill.
I agree. Yeah, that was a tough connect. That's a good callback. I didn't think about that, how he came across in that movie compared to this one. And you got to assume it's after the time. They didn't really specify when they dropped Thor off, but it does seem like it takes place before because Thor left with them, so it's like stands to reason. And he seemed to be doing fine. But maybe, they get back home and there's no action, there's no adventures, and he just has to sit there and think about it. And so he gets depressed. I can live with that. I think one of my biggest.
That's pretty much my only gripes.
Nothing super major to really knock on. I think Zach will agree. I didn't love the dog jokes.
Cosmo was kind of weak.
I like Cosmo. I have a heart for dogs.
I love dogs too. I just thought it was low hanging fruit joke. The good dog, bad dog.
Honestly,
thing.
it would have been so much better if it was a boy and he was saying good boy. Like, just saying good dog kind of took away from it.
That's a good point.
And if he was like, I want to be called a good boy, it would have been funnier. Yeah. Just that little small tweak. I guess it is a girl, though.
Yeah.
But, I didn't like that character that much. I think it's funny that, it's a dog that was sent into space, and it's like a Soviet dog. It's kind of funny, but, like...
it is a Soviet dog.
Right. I just didn't really...
As far as humor goes...
Her powers didn't make any sense, really, just telekinesis and, but, a
little bit overpowered.
In what bounds,
Right. Being able to hold the entire spaceship together is a little overpowered out of nowhere. All of a sudden, she's freaking... Dr... what's his name? Magneto level, abilities or whatever. Yeah. But that really is a small gripe. The humor in that didn't land. The character was fine, but I didn't really like the jokes.
Yeah.
And let's see. I'm trying to think if there was anything else.
I feel like the humor across the board was pretty good. There was a couple Drax moments that didn't quite land.
I love the Drax humor, honestly.
I think he's hilarious, but he kind of
so stupid, but it gets me every time.
It was kind of same old with him.
From the Zargnut joke to the, everything along the way. Yep. Those always make me chuckle, if nothing else.
Yeah, I like how they didn't try to reunite Gamora and Star-Lord, try to just force it. That was good, but it does kind of put her character in an interesting spot. I don't think she's going to continue. I think she's just going to go off with the Ravagers. That's another thing that's they just tied up her story. And it's now she's off doing this thing. So that's what I like about the movie as a whole. But it does kind of make you wonder, it just takes away from the entire team if she's not involved. And it's they're always going to have this like sort of
right. If they get back together, it's too happy of an ending. It doesn't feel real or earned. So they did it well enough where like they leave on good terms, and there's a slight ember of hope there maybe in the future if they ever interact again. I know he's on Earth now, but that there could be some rekindling. But
so I can't think of anything else. I know.
Honestly, it's a very small list of complaints.
The fleshy planetoid world they go to is awesome.
I would say one more. Again, it's just a small criticism. The score, like the movie score, not the soundtrack, the movie score. I mean, not really memorable.
Well, even the soundtrack, there was a couple
soundtrack
they
is
call
a
them
soundtrack.
needle drops. I guess is like when the song hits and it's like goes. There was a couple ones that just fell out of place, but it makes sense though because he's got the Zune now, so it's like you can go any decade. But it did feel a little bit less cohesive, less like because Guardians 1 and Guardians 2 both had like an era to them. Of this what was it 70s, and then the next one was 80s or whatever. So it made sense, but this one was kind of all over the place, little 2000s, little 90s, but it was cool to me. It made sense because of the Zune thing, but I didn't really pay attention to the score. So the Guardians movies aren't about score to me. It's about what tracks are they playing. I like that they ended with the post-credit where he plays Come and Get Your Love, Redbone. That was a great ending.
I thought initially
and they killed a bunch of animals in that scene.
I was thinking when he was playing that song and then they pan like to these pink people, they're hearing something. I'm thinking that's the music they're hearing from their point of view.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, no. And it's like, oh no, they hear in the distant the creatures that are coming towards them.
So with the Groot thing where he says
King
I
Groot,
love you guys.
yes.
Oh yeah.
That scene, I thought about it more and I saw a tweet that was like he didn't say that like
that's us as an audience understanding what
that
means.
Yeah.
I felt that in the moment.
He kind of gets to choose who understands. Is what I'm understanding.
Once you love Groot and Groot loves you back, there's an understanding that
which is kind of funny. That was a cool little moment to me.
I kind of gathered that along the way when especially when he said something to Gamora and she understood it after they went through all that. Then it was like, okay,
but then
that's what it is.
Thor said he studied Groot language or whatever in university or something. So like I don't know. That was
a throwaway line, I'm sure, but I'm sure they ad-libbed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that makes sense. I thought that was a nice payoff.
What about the F word, the F bomb?
The first official F bomb in the universe.
Just big fan, I guess. Jeez. Yeah. I'm not a fan of profanity. It's fine.
I thought it was a perfect insertion of that word. Like just in a moment of frustration trying to open a door, like open the f***ing door. I thought it was hilarious. Rather, because sometimes they try to do that stuff and it's like too serious or too dramatic.
I don't know. What they've done in these movies is that they have like a sound effect or something that covers up what would have been an F bomb in these movies.
They just cut away right after the
Yeah.
Like the first movie where the collector's sanctuary is destroyed. He's about to say what the, and then you hear like a
Nick
light.
Fury dusted.
No, you hear like a light explosion going. After
Nick Fury dusted when he was about to say it.
Right.
And
Spider-Man, he's like, when he gets his identity exposed, he says, "What the?"
Yep. What the bleep?
They went for it.
Aunt May walks in and sees his Spider-Man.
They just cut away.
Yeah.
I'm like, just
like that.
You haven't again the rule
it's
in a PG-13 movie. You can say one F-bomb in in a PG-13 movie. No.
Hey, they pushed the lines of PG-13 in this movie. I'm not gonna lie. There were some graphic moments. Like it's not a kid movie at all.
Oh no,
not a kid movie.
Animal cruelty.
But there's gonna be toys and crap like that, like all over the place.
It's an adolescent.
Mommy, what's with the otter in the arms?
Right. But like if you think about it, I saw another tweet that was like, this is a movie to sort of pay off like growing up with these movies. The first one came out
2014
10 years ago, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Everybody's in their 20s, 30s now.
Yep. So that's why it's maybe marketed as a kid movie, but really it's like for everybody that's grown up with
the
it.
The Marvel universe is they have to keep it. It's Disney, so it has to stay relevant to kids.
But you gotta keep growing. You can't stay in this.
Right. But they make their money because it's relevant to adults as well, and so. They do a good job straddling that line. It's hard to do, and they, maybe stepped over a little with the F-bomb, but I don't think anyone's gonna be like, no more Marvel for my kids.
Yeah, but it definitely ain't no kid movie.
Sorry, Deadpool, you're not the first movie in the MCU with the first F-bomb. That goes to Peter Quill and Guardians 3.
Speaking of Groot, I feel like he was a little bit. He's just over across the board. He's plot armor as heck.
Big time,
he's so unstoppable.
Yeah.
And
Anything
he had some
time.
hilarious scenes with the wings flying out of the thing.
Yes.
With the
Got a
gun.
good
They didn't
laugh
even
out of
scan
it.
him for guns, and he pulls out like 100 guns. Like, that was awesome.
That was pretty sick.
What-
It gets drilled down to just his head by Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
Beats him to death, but it's like just his head, and he grows his whole body back in like 30 minutes.
turns into Alpha Groot at the end or whatever.
King
King
Groot.
Groot, whatever they call him. Which was cool to me too. I don't know. I think he was a great. I think they hit every beat with every character, and that's what made the movie so good.
This is this movie was James Gunn's swan song for Marvel,
Masterclass.
and he's
Magnum opus.
and now he is off to the other side of
Save
DC.
the DC universe.
We'll see what he does.
I have a lot of faith in him, dude. I think
Do you feel any different now going into the new DCU after seeing
Absolutely.
Guardians 3?
I already felt good about it, but I
Knocked it out of
definitely
the park.
feel even better now. Because he had already shown his track record was legit. I mean,
Suicide Squad, yeah,
he did a good job with that, even
I
though
haven't
it didn't
seen that.
do super well. It was a good. Have you not seen it?
Mm-mm.
It's pretty good.
great
Um,
movie.
And
Josh, you would.
it's good. No, it really
Josh
is.
is just obsessed with DC. He just loves
Yeah.
the dying franchise.
Well,
Just like the Titans.
I want every franchise to be great. I don't.
I agree. Trust
Marvel
me.
to
The more
be
better
the
Superman
one-
movies, the more the merrier.
the dominant monopoly of the sport. They competition like a high tide rages
There's
all
never a time
ships.
to come in and get your punch in. Is now. James Gunn knocks it out of the park, and all these other movies have sucked, and now James Gunn is going to DC. Like, now is their
Right.
chance.
Marvel's at its not anymore. It was at its weakest point. He saved it. Now he's gonna go save it. It's really just James Gunn. Just can't miss at this point.
Yeah.
We'll see. I have a lot of faith in what he can do, and his storytelling brain and his choices he makes
Yep.
are pretty much he's batting 1,000. Really, there's been very few
They're great.
of his own fully James Gunn decisions that haven't played or haven't gone well. And he took the most obscure group,
Yep,
obscure
I was about to
characters,
say
and
that,
made them
yep.
some of the most beloved, which is hard to do. And DC's got a lot of those people too, so I think he'll do just as good a job. Great at casting, picking great actors for the roles, and he's already said that his Guardians cast are gonna basically all of them gonna show up in DC stuff.
They'll be sprinkled in there,
I
yeah.
didn't know that.
Right, and they're all
There's
older
some
now,
folks
so we'll
from DC in Guardians 3.
see. Right.
Really?
Like the Evolutionary was in Peacemaker,
Oh, yeah.
and the intercoms lady that had like the talking, moving orb. She's one of the folks in the Justice Society with Amanda Waller. So with Task Force X.
Interesting.
So
got
you had
his
a little bit
core
of that bleed over a bit.
I'm looking forward to seeing the choices he makes. And
By the way, did you see? Sorry to cut you off.
You're
Did either of you see the latest Shazam movie?
not yet.
There is
Haven't and probably
there
won't.
is a post-credit scene that made me laugh out loud, like nobody's business. So because of James Gunn now coming into the fray, and the lines start getting a little bit blurred of like
What's still relevant? What's not?
of what's relevant, and if you're watching a Marvel movie, you'll have like, oh, you're essentially like Batman. Like you'll have like name dropping thing. And like he was going through different names. Like he thought he was being recruited for the Justice League. It's like, we want to recruit you for the Justice. Oh, that's so awesome, society. Wait, what? And then he's going through the names on his phone. It's like, you should call yourself a different name because you got two justices out there. It's like, it's like so and so. And then the last line he says like, wait, the Avengers Society. I about lost it.
I wonder, is Shazam even gonna stay in his new DC?
Well, we'll see.
Right. I guess we don't know.
We'll see. I mean, it looks like Margot Robbie might not be Harley Quinn going forward. Apparently,
I feel like he's gonna wipe it clean. Everything that's already been made like that.
It's gonna
Black
start with
Adam,
it's gonna be the reset with the Flash, which comes out in a month.
Right.
That's what's everyone's been speculating about, talking about, and that's the reset. Blue Beetle will be a part of it, and Aquaman.
looked kind of sick. Have you
And-
seen the trailer for that?
And
It
Aquaman.
looked kind of sick.
Yeah, I did.
And it's obscure
It
character.
did.
It's a perfect choice, like an Iron Man almost, of like the kind of a random one to start off of. If that's where he builds a universe out of a random character like that,
Yeah.
And
He's building off
looks
of
pretty sick.
his first movie. Building his new universe will be super. It's called Superman Legacy,
Yeah.
but he's carrying over Blue Beetle.
Right.
He has stated that's the one franchise that's going to be
Right.
carried
It's
over.
not connected enough where
Aquaman
it
that
can-
comes out after that is no.
Bye.
It's set to be Jason Momoa is set to be Lobo supposedly
right.
in this new universe of DC. So I would love for a different more competition.
For sure.
More competition and
Just more good movies for
and
us.
I still remain consistent that even though Guardians 3 has now like up the ante of like, okay, Marvel is riding high and Secret Invasion is fantastic, then that's like Marvel's riding high again. But before Guardians 3, it's like, are they on shaky ground?
Definitely.
If DC does well starting up their stuff, could they steal the thunder from Marvel per se? I mean, again, they can never take away from the 30-plus movies that Marvel has done for the past decade plus.
Yeah,
this one still feels like it's in the past. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't feel like the new age.
The new age is where things get a little trepidatious for Marvel.
This was a tie-up. Like this should have been in phase.
Right, it's already beloved
phase
characters.
4 or 5,
they don't have to
whatever it is.
earn
Exactly.
any more, goodwill. Everything moving forward essentially is like you got to earn the fans, admiration without any goodwill built in. I guess there is some just from the track record, but it's hard with new characters.
It
you
is
really
very
got
hard.
Spider-Man and a few other stragglers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you just have this like bias of like it's not the same. It's not it's not the same people as it used to be.
It's not the ones that were beloved. I mean,
Right.
I mean,
hard.
yeah, you put
They have to live up to this.
You put No Way Home back to back with Far From Home and consider that Phase 3 movie and consider Guardians, if they were to stick with their original release schedule, that was supposed to be the first film of Phase 4 instead of Black Widow. Outside of those two movies, outside maybe Shang-Chi, what other movies besides those two since Endgame have been really good for Marvel? Where we're blown away.
I didn't love
oh
Black
my
Panther
God.
2. I didn't love Quantumania. I didn't love. I did really like Shang-Chi. I wouldn't say loved it, but I really liked it.
I didn't like Eternals when I first saw it. When I rewatch it, I have an appreciation for it.
Yeah,
Kind of like the first Hulk movie, The Incredible Hulk that came out.
Eternals was whatever. I mean, it was just they had a really tough.
It was too
task.
long. Yeah, it was
really
too
long. Way too much. Exposition, explaining
Eternals was
things.
trash.
Right. But I understand.
It potentially sets up your Secret Wars villain.
The problem
potentially.
with Eternals, it's like all these guys are so random and brand new. We don't know anything about them. We don't know what the heck Eternals are. We don't know anything about these villains. And all of a sudden, it's like we got to explain all that, give all characters their own moment, and then some of them are dying, but we don't care. And it's like at the end, it's like, all right, some people died, some people lived, but I don't know any of their names anymore, and I'll never hopefully see them again.
If Arsham does not come out of nowhere, that the Celestial at the end of Eternals,
Celestials
if
seem too broken
he
to even be in the
if he doesn't come out of nowhere at the end of that movie of Eternals, then Eternals is just a hogwash, waste of time. But
I thought that enhanced the movie. I disagree.
It enhanced its purpose in terms of placement of where do you go from here, because Arsham is going to have a heavy presence, I think, in Secret Wars at least. Because if they're not going to use, there you go. Here's your solution for your Jonathan Majors thing. Yeah. If things go sideways with him, Arsham is your backup because he essentially becomes your beyond.
There's no actor playing Arsham. There's no.
He's the Celestial.
I know who it is, but I'm saying I think that's a big mistake because people bought into Thanos because Adam Brolin did a great job playing Thanos, and he had a purpose.
Josh Brolin.
What'd I say?
Adam.
Whatever. I thought he did a great job, and so freaking super cosmic Arisham, this greater than the galaxy villain, whatever he is, force of nature.
Galactus style villain.
Yeah, it's like that's. I think that's a big mistake. I don't think I think it's too cosmic, and that's what the problem with Eternals. It's like it was semi-grounded, but then you kept zooming and zooming and zooming, and then it becomes this super cosmic galaxy level threat out of nowhere, and it's just not. What's the word? It's hard to
compelling.
It's not human. It's not human.
Right,
it's not grounded.
It's not even close.
It's not relatable.
It's not even alien. It's beyond.
Yeah, Infinity War was Thanos' movie. He was the star.
Right.
So if you follow Harisham in the movie,
and he's a purple, monster, but it still was human enough to stay,
Thanos, Zod of his reasoning of taking over Earth, creating a new Krypton. You have those villains that
actual
are
purpose.
The high evolution. I want to create a more perfect society.
Right.
Yeah.
Did they ever explain why Rocket had independent thought?
I was going to mention that they never did tie back, and why was he the only one whose brain
took to
worked?
figure it out?
Yeah. He could think beyond his program.
Right. That's why he hated him so much, because he couldn't figure it out. Why Rocket
why
was the only
you?
one.
Yeah.
Right. He hadn't been able to crack the code. So they never did explain that.
Yeah. Maybe
He's just special, I
chosen
guess.
one.
Yeah, the chosen one. That's always
The chosen
The-
raccoon.
the
I like
logic.
that they paid off that he's actually a raccoon at the end. Too.
yeah. That's funny. I'll miss all the the gerbil, the rabbit,
Yeah.
the cat.
They'll probably still do that somehow.
Yeah,
He'll just correct him now. Say I'm a raccoon.
it's a great, easy joke every time.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't care what you say. I'm still crying and tearing up thinking about those. No.
Lila.
I don't know if you noticed it. There's a shot where it's like all four of them in the cage just looking up at the ceiling or the sky, and it's like turning in a circle slowly. Did that not remind you of Simba, Timon, and Pumbaa looking up at the sky a little bit?
Yeah.
No, it didn't. But
That was my first
saw
visual thought process of like,
I just saw Lion King
my
like a couple
God,
days
yes.
ago because Sasha she's in a Lion King right now, and it did not land for me. I didn't think of that at all. But I get what you're saying.
I mean that's what clicked with me. It's okay if you didn't know that. So
No, we have
That
to
little
agree.
fleshy world that they went to was like a really cool change of pace. Super bright, nasty kind of.
oh yeah, the
The
prison
organic
area.
planet.
What is
Yeah.
it called again? Orgo.
Oh.
Orgo
Or
something.
Go Corp.
Yeah, that was a great little. I mean, that's just you could just tell they put thought and design and
James
even into
Gunnisms, yeah.
like they could have easily made the henchmen like stormtrooper type looking dudes with suits on, but they made them like these fleshy blobs. Like that was just like.
Did we think it was funny with
just
what?
wacky and-
Did we think it was funny what Mantis did to
Dude,
one
yes,
of the security?
I was just gonna mention that. That was
Wait, what?
hilarious. When she
Where he
said,
hypnotizes him to
"Madly in
love
Oh,
Drax.
yeah.
It's a great joke.
Yeah, them two going back to back kind of it paid off because in the Christmas special they were back to back.
You know what? Mantis deserves some credit too because I think it's hard in movies like this.
Wait, what
to-
did Mantis do in the Christmas special with Drax?
They went on that adventure.
Yeah,
to
they
go
went
get
and
Kevin
captured.
Bacon.
Kevin
Yeah,
Bacon.
Kevin Bacon.
Right.
What did Mantis do to Drax?
She just-
I'm saying they were tag teaming. You know what I'm saying?
They're-
Like,
they're
okay,
they
yeah,
built up
yeah,
equity
yeah.
with
Their
each
back
other.
and forth is great. I
Yeah.
think, and it
Okay.
pays off a lot in this movie too because Mantis is there to deliver the emotional, to spell out the emotional moment in a way that you can feel or see, but she just spells it out because of how her character is. She's will say the emotional line. When the other characters are too tough or don't want to deliver it or doesn't make sense as much, she's
Right.
there to do it, which I think is a nice tool to
Yep.
use.
These
in those
characters,
moments.
the characters just embrace every flaw that they have. They're just the most flawed and have the worst backstory. Like all of them come from just like the worst of the worst abuse and not even knowing who their real parents are. All this stuff, and then they come together to make this family, and then they all go on this perfect, or not perfect, but just perfectly imperfect adventure. And then now they're all sort of satisfied in their areas, and I think it's a great ending to the series.
Yeah, it is.
It's all believable. I mean, they nailed it
They
across the
did.
board.
I give it a 8.5,
That's it.
maybe a 9,
I
maybe
was
9.
gonna say I'm going 9.3. I mean, it was this thing. Our list of complaints was so small. It's
Yeah.
hard to not give it a near
True.
10.
Very true. Could you have
I-
watched this
I-
movie without knowing anything else? Could you have
Could
seen?
you?
Could you watch this standalone? Is what was probably why I would take it down. Notch.
I mean, they're not designed that way, so
Right.
I don't really hold that against them. But
They do a quick
never know.
summary.
That's
of
tough. That's
everything that
tough. That's
happened.
tough.
they do flashbacks.
They try
and
to
stuff, so-
summarize it in the elevator or whatever that was. That's pretty
Yeah,
funny.
that's
Here,
true.
Quill, going at it. It's like
That's the gist.
that's pretty much the gist of it.
Yeah. I don't think you can watch
for
this standalone.
for my rate, I've just done away with my ratings because I would give something that I really like an 8, and then I would give something that I really like as well a 7. It's like, wait, you think this movie that got an 8 is better than this?
You
I'm
just
like,
feel it.
no, it's like I recommend like yesterday we go to Little Italy restaurant. Me and Megan did for dinner. She said I get this like 9 out of 10 stars. I'm like, okay, I will highly recommend this restaurant for people to go. You're not gonna rate it? I'm like, no, it's a great it's a good restaurant for people to go. I would recommend. I can't rate it anything. I would
What's,
notch it for how long we had to wait for our food.
What's the rating app called again?
IMDb. Or
No,
Rotten
for
Tomatoes?
food.
Oh, Yelp.
Yelp. You get
Yelp.
a Yelp account.
Yelp or Google reviews? Yeah.
Yeah, go Yelp it. Be like, this is very good.
Mm-hmm.
No stars.
I would say for, and I mentioned this to Zach the other day. For where does this stand on my top 5 or top 10 MCU
Mount
movies?
Rushmore.
My Mount Rushmore. That's a great now. That's
Oh,
perfect.
Mount
Actually,
Rushmore's probably not
I would
perfect.
like
Mount
if
Rushmore's
Mount Rushmore had
represent-
5 statues. Yeah, if had 5 movies, I would say in no particular order. Iron Man.
Number 1.
No, in no particular order.
Once you listen,
In no particular order.
I have a ranking.
It is Iron Man, No Way Home, Avengers: Infinity War, Avengers: Endgame, and Guardians 3. That's my
interesting
5.
list.
That's my
I
5.
think No Way Home is way too high on the list personally.
Again, you can put that at 5 if you
No,
want
you're
to.
wrong, Josh. I'm kidding. I haven't thought about my own top 5.
Like No Way Home was like Spider-Man's Endgame, its own Infinity War. If you watch the movie since 2002,
Right. It was
like
great.
that's essentially what that was.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
And if you look at it like that, as a culmination of all the Spider-Man, then it does belong high on the list.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good
Right
point.
now, I put it at my 4.
Guardians is number
Infinity
4.
War, Civil War, Endgame, and then I had Thor Ragnarok. And
Oh yeah, that's right.
I'd bump
I
out
would
Ragnarok.
swap out Endgame for Civil War. I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to include when you got these like collaboration movies. It's hard to for those to compete.
But Infinity War is just a great movie by itself.
Sure. I would say, I would almost make a separate list for the
Non-crossovers.
Yeah, just the solo movies. I guess you can include Civil War because it's Captain America, but that one's kind of still
What
unfair.
about
It's
ranking,
Avengers
what about
2.5.
ranking the different titles? Guardians, Thor, Iron Man,
Right, that's a good
Spider-Man,
way to do it.
Mhm.
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange is low on the list right now.
Let's only have two
only
movies,
two.
so you got to give him a chance to get number 3.
Yeah.
But like
If he gets number
Captain
3.
America is hard to beat. I mean, they're just the first one was the weakest, but the next two were just
First one was
absolute-
good, though.
bangers.
First
Good.
one was
No, I'm
still
saying
good.
It's real good.
They're
Yeah.
all 3 fire.
Yeah,
Like
two's
first one's a
incredible.
period piece. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I know I like them all. I'm just saying, out of the 3, it's the weakest.
Yeah.
And then 2's incredible. 3's
Guardians is an acquired taste. Anna hates the Guardians. She can't even watch it.
How?
She tried and is like not into it at all. She says it's gross, it's not funny, it's
What?
weird, it's not believable.
She also doesn't
but
like-
she loves Captain America.
So
she also doesn't like
can't do
country
the
music.
alien
so
stuff.
No, right.
She's
She
all
can't-
over the place.
She can't
Some,
do aliens.
some people can't do the alien stuff. I get it, and that's gonna be a big no
It
if
was
you're
funny,
a Guardians.
The moment she wanted me to turn it off is when Drax was thrown into that like green ooze or whatever, and then somebody had
The
to-
first movie. Yeah.
Yeah, Groot stuck his fingers up in his nose to like, spit it out. She's like, "Yeah, I'm
Yes.
done."
Yeah, that's tough.
And I was
He's
like,
trying to get him to
okay,
breathe. Yeah.
Not all like this, but it kind of is at the same time. Like that same green ooze comes back in this movie, and they're in the flesh world.
There's
or
a lot of
whatever.
ooze. That's true.
And so I was like, yeah, it's just not for her. So it is an acquired
Understand.
taste, but I have a taste for it. And I think it's probably one of the best. I'd probably put Captain America above it though.
Yeah, in terms, with titles,
Yeah, I'd say
definitely Captain
Captain
America.
Captain America 1, Guardians 2. I would
probably
say
Spider-Man. Spider-Man probably beats out Iron Man and Thor.
Spider-Man, but even
Spider-Man
3
beats out Thor. I don't know if
three's
it beats
not
out
fair, though.
Iron
That's the
Man.
problem.
But Iron Man 2 and 3 kind of suck.
2 was the low point. 3 was
Two
a
is fine.
was
Two and three
3 was really
It's
good.
forgettable.
2 is better than 3 in my
1
opinion.
gets more love because it was the original,
Right.
but it's not. It's just older, so it doesn't
there
hold
goes
up
one of my
as
lights.
well
Yeah.
compared to the other, newer movies with new technology and all this stuff. It's hard to really even compare those because like Civil War has the crossovers and what's it called?
Civil War is a little unfair.
Thor has crossovers.
Civil War has an unfair advantage with all these.
Yeah,
movies.
yeah. And,
It's the
Doctor
Avengers
Strange has
sequel that
crossovers.
should have happened.
Spider-Man has crossovers. All these movies have them.
true.
Guardians doesn't have really any,
True.
but they have a 5-person team. So it's like there's
True. But you could look at it as a weakness as well.
very true. It's hard to rank these movies.
I would probably go Cap, Guardians, Spider-Man, Thor, Iron Man, just out of trilogy's sake,
Out of the trilogy.
and then
yeah.
Ant-Man.
Where do you
probably
rank
below
Black Widow?
that. Black Widow's 26 on my list.
It would be maybe
that's
the bottom.
very
It
low.
barely beats out Iron Man 3, Thor: The Dark World, Eternals, Incredible Hulk.
No, dude, I think I have Black Widow
I s-
literally the bottom.
If you
It's
if
an
if
entertaining
Incredible
movie.
Hulk is on
I watched it on a
TV,
plane. I
if I'm
enjoyed it.
scrolling through my TV list guide and I see Incredible Hulk, I will watch it. It's a great watch.
I don't think I ever
I
actually
just barely
finished
It's a
it.
remember
good
that.
watch.
It's too old.
It sucks.
It's just
Well,
too-
no, we're talking about like some Marvel doesn't do payoffs. Like the 2 things they have not paid off is Scorpion at the end of Homecoming for Spider-Man. They have not paid that off yet. What they will be paying off soon that they haven't in a while is the leader with from Incredible Hulk when he gets that drip on his brain. He's going to be the main villain
watch
of
She-Hulk?
Captain America 4.
Oh, really?
Did you
Yeah.
watch She-Hulk? They paid off a lot of stuff.
I
in
did
Incredible
not.
Hulk.
I did not watch after the 3rd episode
like
with that
Incredible
post-credit
Hulk,
scene.
it
I'm
might
like,
be-
I'm done. I'm done.
It might be worth watching She-Hulk just
Not
for
a
the
Meg the
payoff of some
Stallion
of the
fan,
stuff.
I guess.
Yeah, literally.
I'm
only
watching
watched 2
She-Hulk. I'm
episodes.
not
Like
watching Megan Thee
Mandalorian
Stallion.
with Lizzo in it. Like, what are we doing?
I finished Mandalorian the other day.
What are we doing,
And
guys? It's pretty good.
solid. Could have been better, but It's hard, man. When your finale episode's 40 minutes and it's like that's it, it's over now. That's like they beat Moff. Sorry, spoiler. They beat Moff Gideon. It's like,
That's not a spoiler. That's to be
Obviously.
expected. Yeah.
right. Yeah, obviously that's gonna happen, but like it just was.
They
too
beat him
quick.
the last 3 seasons. Yeah.
Right, it's too quick. I thought, but I get it. Streaming.
All right. Closing thoughts. What do we think going forward with Marvel and James Gunn's future?
We kind of talked about it a lot, but I mean, the Guardians are probably going to have a rest for a long time.
Mhm.
They might pop up, obviously, in the crossovers, but James Gunn moving on to DC, who knows? It's a blank slate, right?
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
he's to be trusted. He's to be trusted after
To be
these.
trusted.
But yeah, I mean,
You're the pessimist over there, though, with DC.
I just don't like DC right now. I would love for it to be good.
You got to give it a chance.
I am giving it
What
a
have you
chance. I've
watched?
given it so many chances.
Have you watched the Snyder Cut, Justice League?
No one's watching that, dude. That's like 4
That's
hours.
got to be one of our next
No one's watching
episodes.
that.
We need to have a
4 hours.
4-hour
Nobody's
commentary
Holy
of
cow.
watching this movie.
Pass. You can find
We can
somebody
take
else
as
to
many
do that.
breaks as you want
No,
watching
you
it.
can find somebody else to do that when I'm out.
What's the last DC movie you watched?
Batman.
Everybody
Oh,
loves
great.
Batman. Yeah.
Twilight Boy. Yeah.
Great movie. I loved it.
Well, there you go. So why are you pessimistic about it then?
I'm not
The last
pessimistic.
movie you
I
saw
want
was
them to be
great.
good. They just have been trashed in the past.
The last one you saw was great.
Yeah, that's why I'm hopeful.
Just don't watch Black Adam. Yeah, that one
You didn't
was
like Black Adam?
that was hot garbage.
I
Yeah,
didn't see it yet.
very hot, very, very, very hot
I've heard people
garbage.
say it's good.
It's like Amazing Spider-Man 2 hot garbage.
It's just
Like
action scenes. That's it.
action
Nothing else?
scenes. Yeah, story
What do you
is
expect with The Rock?
So that's his bread and butter.
The Rock.
Vin Diesel will tell you opposite with the last 2 Fast films now. So
Well.
he's not in it.
I'm Team Rock in that debate. I haven't seen any Fast and Furious movies.
Me neither.
The last one was really, really ridiculous. And the trailer for
More
this new one,
ridiculous than all the others.
they get more ridiculous.
Exactly.
Like they find new ways to be
Cars
like,
in space.
they find new ways to like, be like, you got like this is
Slingshot
ridiculous. Like
cars, yeah.
like the Meg, like that shark movie, the Meg 2 trailer.
Yeah.
My wife loves those. Like loves the
What?
first one. It's not a bad first movie, but the trailer for this new one that just came out, it's ridiculous. It's
I think
stupid.
that's the point. I think they're just embracing the ridiculous. Jason Statham's just larger than life, can stop a shark with his foot. He's riding a jet ski, doing triple flips in the air. That's,
And it looks like there's 3 of them now.
right.
3
That's the
Megs.
absurdity of those movies. Just at the beginning before you even watch it. But let's see. Closing
I
thoughts.
want to go back and watch it again. That's my thoughts.
Meg.
Huh?
We're talking about the shark movie.
To my Guardians. I was looking at Twitter
Oh,
to see if there's
yeah.
any theories to throw out.
Closing thoughts. I think this gives some confidence moving forward for Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they asked me, which they're not going to, but they should listen. I think they need to sort of leave the streaming stuff on the shelf, do less and make it better, or just leave it all alone. I don't think it's worth the time and money, especially when the quality's low now. It's like you had to come out strong with that sort of thing to get people invested, because now it's like you got to really entice me to go back and watch any of them. And if a new one comes out, it's got to be really good early or I'm out. And so it's like if those are going to be connected tissue to the universe, I think that it'll suffer because of it. So there's some great movies on the schedule, and I have faith that they'll nail them. And then James Gunn, I don't think we see the Guardians for a long time, maybe
The
ever.
funny thing is, he literally almost was never going to do this. Like they literally fired him over some old tweets.
Yeah.
And
It
then
was
they brought him
it's
back.
Welcome back. Thanks
I know.
for making us some bajillion dollars.
You want to know the funny thing about all this is that the same guy that fired him and Alan Horn is the same guy that recommended to the David Zaslav, who now runs Discovery,
Right.
Warner Brothers, to say hire him to run DC
Obviously.
Studios.
It's just
So-
bogus,
Right.
man.
You could so that's the real conspiracy theory out there, is that they intentionally
It's all
hired him,
about it's all about optics.
fired him to hire him
Right.
for their
optics
rival.
and the wokeness ruins everything. And so let's get real.
Yeah.
I think he'll be clutch. I
all
think
those
he'll
people
nail
who
it
call for James Gunn
DC.
firing probably crying their butts off in Guardians 3.
Right. No, it was only in response because he leans on the left side and is woke, and so I think it was some
I can't
other
remember
side,
what
people-
I can't
Pretty sure it
remember
was
what,
racist.
tweet,
It
what
was
the
like
tweets were.
2014.
It was just inappropriate jokes.
I can't
Like it
remember.
was like
It was-
crass jokes.
I remember it was like
13 years
2010 jokes.
Yeah,
That's the
right.
only thing I
Which is
remember.
how
It's
you
like
can fire somebody over 13 years ago. Whatever.
ago. Right. Anyway, he'll nail it for DC. I'll be tuning in as much as possible.
I might not be.
We'll see. Hopefully, if his first movie's Blame, then I'm out.
yeah, I nailed that first one was Superman Legacy.
Yeah.
So my closing thoughts, and I'll go ahead and actually kind of help maybe have it maybe different change of thought of about these Disney Plus series is that for some reason when all the shutdowns happened in 2020, everything, including the TV shows, got pushed back. So what we're seeing now, especially on the Disney Plus front, is that even though it seems like every single month it seems like there's something new coming out, we have a plethora of new characters that seems like all at once. It seems like in Phase 4 was just the aftershocks of shutdowns and moving dates around and
It's a good
whatnot.
point. Hard to
Because
hold it against them.
because now going forward there's less of that because now all those productions that were done and was supposed to be spread out starting in 2020 got crunched in late 2021, 2022, and the first parts of 2023.
Right. Everything that was produced at that point had less time, less flexibility, didn't have the freedom to make all the choices maybe they intended to make.
Mm-hmm.
So their series suffered for it. So that I agree. Maybe I'm judging too harshly, and so, they'll get a second chance to win my favor, I guess. With these upcoming shows, because how many have they had? 4, 5, 6. They're one for however many they've had. Because Loki's been the only one that I've liked.
I've watched them all. They've been entertaining at least.
I have not watched Hawkeye. I just have no interest in
Oh
it.
yeah, Hawkeye was so
I actually
forgettable.
watched Hawkeye and it was pretty lame.
So forgettable.
I only watched the Kingpin episode, like scenes on YouTube because I heard he was in it.
It's all
But
right.
if that was a DC show, you would have watched every episode.
No, I wouldn't.
That's how you,
I have
that's
not
how
watched
you know you're
Peacemaker.
biased.
I haven't watched
You're just
Peacemaker.
biased
So
towards
no,
DC for whatever reason.
I haven't watched Peacemaker. When I've seen some of the scenes online, that's maybe too R for me. Like even I have limits. So,
Even Josh.
but because give
Believe it or not.
me Deadpool or Logan, the Suicide Squad, raunchy Venom should have been rated R for those two movies. Like the audience is well versed enough to know, okay, don't take your children to see this movie. The audience is not that stupid to say. For the first Deadpool movie, there were instances where parents thought this was an MCU movie and they took their kids and he's like, it's National Women's Day. It's like, oh my God, you took your kid to see that part of the movie. Oh
That's
my,
on you.
jeez.
You got
Yeah,
no
that's
right
on
to
the
blame
parent
it
for,
yourself.
that's on the
Yeah,
parent,
yeah.
not the child, but.
I mean, any parent who complains about a movie being too rated R or too vulgar, it's their own fault for not doing the research. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Unless it was like forced upon them on some show that whatever.
Mm-hmm. I even watched I seen snippets of the TNT version of the Suicide Squad of how it's like how some of the slurs are dubbed out. It's odd. Like it doesn't feel right. But yeah, closing thoughts. Great way to cap off this trilogy. James Gunn is going to do wonderful things over at DC if the Suicide Squad and this movie is any indication for his storytelling. And like you said, he did his end. He knew what the ending was going to be, and from all indications, he and Peter Safran over at DC have an 8-10 year plan of what their chapters, which is their phases over
That's
at
the
DC.
right way to do these things.
They know where the story, the overarching story now is going to be going forward with DC.
That's been proven-
Towards theirs Infinity War, their endgame versions of DC,
That's the way to do these things. You can't just make it
and
up as you go.
still leave wiggle room for
sure.
for new things to pop up. It's like
The greater overarching story
it's
needs
like
to be
this
written.
character did well. Okay, you'll get a sequel.
Right. You can focus more on people, but the main story needs to have an outline, and you can mess with the pieces in between. But the main story needs to be there before you start and get rolling, I think.
All right, so that's our closing thoughts. We all think Guardians 3 is awesome. Zach over there does not like DC movies apparently,
That's true.
and me and
telling
Corey
me
can't wait
Aquaman
for
was good?
Superman Legacy to come
Right.
out in 2025. So
I think the casting is going to be key for all. I think that's almost like the main factor for so many of these movies. If you nail the casting, the movie is going to do well.
Do we think one of the females from Guardians is going to be Lois Lane? I tend to think that Nebula, the actress for her, is going to be Lois Lane.
They want a really young Superman, so I don't think any of those are going to be.
That's why I say I forget the name of
Karen Gillan.
Yeah, Karen Gillan.
She's a little older too. She's not.
She
old,
looks
but
she looks young. Yeah.
Okay, Josh. No, I mean she's
There's people out there. There's
old
people
she
out there
actually
that
is.
drink unicorn blood and still look the same they do 20 years ago. Steve Martin is one of those people.
right. Well,
So yeah,
I think they're gonna do like a young, almost teenage-looking, young 20s Superman.
it's gonna be a mid. I would say
Mid-20s,
mid 20s, early 30s.
Well, how they look, they're gonna look that young 20s. Maybe they're actually 30. You know how that is. And
like
then-
Tom Holland. Yeah.
Right. And then the same thing will apply for a Lois Lane. They can't be too young because she has to have her career going, but like
Yeah.
something like that on the young side. And then hopefully they pick. I mean, there's a lot of great young stars out there that they can pick from. So hopefully they nail it.
Mm-hmm.
And the supporting characters, hopefully they nail them too.
All
We
right.
shall see.
Yep. And with that, that's Zach VanBlaricom, Cory VanBlaricom, and this is Joshua Mickle for Casted to the King. Sign off. And as always, keep kicking it to the king.
He had to throw that in there.